Give me a second. I gotta refill the cup.
No problem.
Are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life is lemons, just call me. Just call me.
Copy.
Just call me. Just call me.
Oh. The farm part, like a Halloween type deal. Oh, okay. That sounds. No. We'll live with it. Fair enough. Okay. One moment.
You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing
Hey.
out there to get you, don't
Dave,
forget.
I'm sorry. My son always likes to be honest before I try to jump in. So he's being horribly bad at the moment. Alright, I'm back, buddy. No. Well, only time will tell. Obviously, you had your gut instincts and your experience there.
and gentlemen, welcome to the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, where the final race of the round of 16 in the 2024 Stacy Strong Cup Series playoffs is about to take place. Tonight's race is a crucial detriment in the championship battle and promises to be a thrilling spectacle of speed and skill. As these elite drivers navigate the unforgiving half-mile oval, every lap, every pass, and every pit stop could have a profound impact on the championship outlook. The intensity of the competition is sure to be captive, as racing fans from sea to shining sea will be tuning in right here tonight on YouTube.com. So join myself, Dave Regal, alongside my brother from another mother, Mr. Matt Mettler, here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, where we're ready to witness the unfolding drama of this pivotal playoff race, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And Matt, here we are again, 1 week later, one race left here in the round of 16. Folks, glad to have everybody with us, and of course, Matt, glad to be here alongside of you.
That's right. I missed you, you big pumpkin puffer. The last great Coliseum. In the words of George Carlin, we are going all the way tonight. 500 laps, 500 miles. And as you said, from sea to shining sea. I love that open, Dave Regal. Hopefully, these guys at home and welcoming, and I'm going to say what you say, into your homes, onto your phones here tonight. You guys are along for the ride as we cover all the high-flying, high-octane racing action right here on Sim Racing Media.
And high octane is definitely one way to put it. In fact, let's take a look. The octane may be high, but right now that track temperature is not so high. It's an interesting layout here tonight with this half-mile oval. Now, of course, we've seen lots of public races this week, so we know that there's a lot, as far as getting around this place. The track is tighter than a snare drum. 72 degrees, the outdoor ambient air temperature, 74 degrees on the asphalt. That's going to be a lot of grip down there.
Yeah, a ton of grip down there to flare with your snare. So you got to be careful when you got all that grip. You don't want to lose it here at the bigger version of the paper clip. Dave, this points battle is you're probably getting ready to switch over to is really starting to heat up and get hot and heavy. Some of the big hitters here tonight, if it's anything like we seen last night, could spell trouble. And it's Bristol, baby. The temperatures will be flaring. Sometimes you come out of here with a little bit of a torn ego, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to have to see how this one shakes out here tonight as we get ready to rumble here from the big house.
Yeah, last week we ran our road course of this round. Of course, last week was at Watkins Glen, where Paul Hill brought home the checkered flag. We've already had two different winners during the round of 16. First up was Bobby Anderson. Next was Paul Hill. Now tonight we look to see if Paul Hill goes back-to-back or if we add a third driver into the winners list for the round of 16. Of course, looking forward to next week. We'll be at the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas Speedway, then followed by my favorite racetrack on the circuit, Talladega Super Speedway, and then rounding out the round of 12 at the Charlotte Roval, and everybody knows how I feel about that. But, the story of the night right now is the points series, and this points battle has been getting hotter and hotter as we've gone on. I thought for sure by now we might see somebody run away with it, but Eric Papineau just dropped 3 spots. Paul Hill hopped up 4 spots after picking up the win last week, and Keith Long dropped 3, which kind of brings us to where we are right now. From 16th place all the way to the lead, it's only an 86-point gap.
Yeah, only an 86-point gap, and this racetrack can make you or it can break you. And just as I say that, the points gods, well, they don't want me to see the rest of the points for some odd reason, as my SDK just puked itself, Dave. However, with that being said, movers and shakers, this racetrack, if you come out here, you have the right mindset. And the key word, I think, is going to be patience here tonight, Dave. You cannot win it on lap 1, especially when you have to go 500 laps around this last great Coliseum. And I think patience, and a little bit more patience could be part of the recipe to wind up in victory lane when all is said and done here tonight.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be something that we're going to have to see all night in order for this to be a successful race. I think that you really hit the nail on the head as far as, saying, hey, listen, you can't win this thing on lap 1. And I'm sure when those engines fire that we're going to hear somebody say it, on race radio for sure. But as we take a look here, I'm trying to find driver the number 44, Sean Rogers, and I don't see him in the chat. There he is. There he was. He was hiding under Matt Cox. So let's get a hold of Sean Rogers here, who was just hiding under Matt Cox. Hey, Sean, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, got you guys. How you doing?
We're good, but listen, you're coming charging in here with a full boat, behind you. Everybody's looking for you. You've got that target on your back as you lead the points. What's going to be the strategy tonight?
I think I'm up 67 to the good, so I think I'm pretty much guaranteed to be in. So I'm really just chasing points to carry over, so stage wins and winning the race, things that'll help me later on in the playoffs.
Yeah, the word that Matt used tonight was patience, and you can't win this on the first lap. How do you feel right now you're sitting P5 on the timing line after qualifying. How do you feel, where you are right now? I mean, you seem to be ahead of most of what's probably going to be the mayhem.
Yeah, I just definitely want to try to stay ahead of the mayhem. Thing about Bristol being such a small track, we'll probably catch, if we get, good runs, we're going to be catching the tail end of the field. So it's going to be about constantly managing traffic and hoping you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, wrong place at the wrong time, definitely the way to be. Or, you need to be in the right place at the wrong time tonight. That's the way that you need to be. But listen, before we cut you loose, want to make sure that you get Amanda there into the youtube.com live chat. We want to thank you for everything that you've done for us here in this league because, man, some of the racing that you put on has just been amazing over this season.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll definitely get Amanda in the comments. I'm waving at her right now, so she should be logging on. You'll be hearing from her soon. But
look, we're trying to make internet stars.
Yeah, there you go. And, we can be the power couple of the SRM family.
That's exactly right. All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations on still leading the points. And we're going to see you hopefully at the end of one of these stages, if not in victory lane.
I hope so, too. Have a good one, guys.
Always. That, of course, the voice of Sean Rogers out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, who comes to us from the CSS Racing stable. And, of course, Sean has been dominant all season long as we get him moved back up into here. And Matt, we've watched Sean Rockin' Rogers do his thing all season, and I don't think anybody does it better than him.
No, this has to be a season to remember. Driver out of the beast mode performance stable as well. You often see BMP on his race car, and he has just put up a season that, as I reflect on, it's going to be one that I remember here from the broadcast side of things, and certainly from the competitor standpoint inside the cockpit of that race car. Sean has to have just so much confidence. I mean, just based upon all the great finishes. I mean, we've seen him do it all. Come from behind, get down early, caught up in mayhem on the racetrack, able to rebound. We've seen the clutch victories. He has really put together, one heck of a job here, and I look forward to watching him compete out there on the racetrack.
And with us now, speaking of the top of the pile, let's talk about the bottom of the pile, at least in playoff contention. Right now, holding on for dear life is Chief Cook and Bottle Washer Chris Claude here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series. Hey, Chris, it's Dave. You got me?
I do, Dave.
Well, buddy, listen, we were talking earlier about our other sports that drive us completely berserk, but you've got a lot of pressure on you tonight to be able to make that transfer into the round of 12. Is this the night that we see Chris Claude really turn one up here for Tennessee?
I don't know that I have much choice. I tried to get a decent qualifying effort. I think I did that. I'm close to inside the top 10. I need to get some stage points in both stages if I can, get a good finish, stay out of trouble, and hopefully have a better result than my real-life Cup the person I root for, Ty Gibbs, he kind of got eliminated last night, so I'm trying not to have the same fate he did.
Yeah, that was a rough night for Ty. I mean, when you come here to Bristol, you never know what it's going to give you. I mean, this is really, I think Bristol and some of the super speed, at least both of the super speedways, are the box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And at Bristol, sometimes we can have some great, sexy long runs, and other times we can have just a bundle full of a sack of crap.
Yeah, we're try to avoid that. We need to have some good, clean runs. A lot on the line, not just for me, but for quite a few other guys trying to advance to the next round.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. Well, listen, good luck tonight. And, of course, looks like the warm-up segment's just about over. We're going to make a couple of other quick stops, but good luck, and hopefully you can get yourself some stage points. If not, that elusive checkered flag.
I would love to see that.
All right, buddy. That, of course, the voice of Chris Claude. Then, as we move up here, we're going to go to Bobby Anderson, who won that first round here, or that first race here in the round of 16. Hey, Bobby, it's Dave. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Buddy, listen, here you are coming in. You've already got your transfer, secured. No questions there. What's going to be, your mindset tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm basically locked into the round of 12 unless something extreme happens. So I'll be going for the win tonight, just playing a little strategy, maybe trying to catch people on tires, get myself some good track positions. So, yeah, definitely going for the win.
Well, if anybody can be a tire saver, I know that there's about 3 of you out on the racetrack, and you're one of them that can absolutely make a set of tires last until they're liquid. So good luck tonight, buddy, and hopefully we see you at the end of this thing.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, here we are getting ready to go green, and Bobby, what team did you just come out of?
Oh, I got it.
All
I
right.
got you.
I just grabbed it without even looking. But, Matt, listen, we've got a long night tonight, 500 total laps the scheduled distance, but, that's not 500 miles. This is not going to be completely horrific. As I seem to have lost Matt. That's fun. Thanks. Just kidding. Anyway, stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap 125. Stage 2 going to be at the end of lap 250, and then 250 laps to the end in stage number 3. Drivers are going to have a whole pile of tires tonight, as they'll have 11 total tire sets. So they're going to start 11, lay 10 for the 500-mile race. That puts your pit window somewhere in and around 50 laps. If you're going to be if you're going to be a little bit liberal, if you're going to be conservative, you can stretch that somewhere in and around the 80 to 100 mark, especially with the short distance around this field. But here we go, getting ready to take a peek at our starting lineup. And here they are. Matt, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here with you.
There you are. I was worried about you.
5-year-old. Yeah, that lovely 5-year-old just
Have kids. They said it'll be fun.
That's what they advertised.
Yeah, well, those people are the ones that have already been done raising children. But let's take a look here. Noah Hamilton going to be your pole sitter with Bobby Anderson to the outside. Row 2 going to feature Neil Pearson, the modern-day Silver Fox, alongside of Paul Hill. Sean Rogers and Chad Sander going to hold things down in row 3, while row 4 is going to feature Diego Rodriguez and Matt Cox. Tanner, Marty, and Jeff Carson going to round out your starting top 10, while Cody McCorkle and Chris Claude going to be in row number 6. Row 7 is Matt Mackin with Mike McConville from South Jersey in the outside of row number 7, while Kavaja Holt and Ron Fitting start in row number 8. Row 9 is Keith Long with Logan Giesbrecht and Ryan Samuelson alongside of Ken Ron in row number 10. Row 12 is Tane Hodison and Richard Pruitt with Eric Papineau and Chris Davis in row number 12. We're going all the way to 34th. You can see Austin Call and Larry Miles, Alex Princeton and Michael Witt, Chris Custer and Brian Nunemacher, Mark Johnston and John Wilco, Casey Bristow on the inside of row number 17, and Mr. 305 himself, Randall Watkins. 500 total laps the scheduled distance tonight as the iRacing.com pace car brings us through turns 3 and 4, waiting for them to drop on down here tonight. We want to thank everybody for tuning in as we get ready. Looks like we're going to get a second lap here. See, there I was, all kinds of stressed, and we didn't even have it.
No, I was getting all worked up for this, and all of a sudden we throw an extra lap on the board. There's those lights now out on that iRacing.com pace car. However, Dave, there's nothing worse than thinking I'm calling a race with you up in the broadcast booth, and then I don't hear you. And then I'm like, okay, Dave's taking care of something. I'm going to carry the torch, and I'm going to carry this broadcast. And then I look down and realize my splitter is disconnected.
Never want to have your splitter disconnected. You got to... Never mind.
I know what you meant.
We haven't even dropped the green flag yet. But as we get ready to come through turn number 4, the iRacing.com pace car makes the turn down pit road. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, call a friend, and settle in. Race fans, it's showtime!
Let the jousting match begin here on Sim Racing Media's Noel Hamilton fires off to the lead here as he rips the bottom going through the turns 3 and 4 complex, already back around this place. You get these laps on the board quick, fast, and in a hurry. But Dave, how about Bobby Anderson? He said he's going to try a little bit of some alternate strategy here tonight, but he's right here in the thick of things with a great starting position, already in that P2 spot as Noah Hamilton goes fastest lap of the race at a 14.57.
You know, here's the thing. We're going to see a lot of fast laps laid down here as we get underway on lap number 4. Let's pull up that timing tower. There it wasn't. There it is. And all of a sudden, Noah Hamilton already is gapping the field by a half second. But as we watch what Paul Hill's got going on, I don't know what is going on with my microphone. Boom. My children were here. We were just having that discussion. I know someone was touching.
Splitter disconnected?
No, my splitter was not disconnected. My splitter is always perfect.
Gotcha. At least that's what we like to tell ourselves, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you know. But you can see here on the left-hand side. Oh, God. It's going to be a long night, bud. You can see right here on the left-hand side that all of those drivers in that purplish-pinkish color, we'll call it mauve, if you will, but they are all of your playoff drivers. And right now, they are sprinkled in here like a fine seasoning in an Italian restaurant as Noah Hamilton in the Mountain Dew Code Red number 45 Toyota Camry rolls out of turn number 4 here on lap 8, and we are already single file through a lot of the field. This is the kind of racing that we've been dying to see in this league. And, of course, just as I say that, of all people to go side by side,
yes,
it's Chris Claude, and I love it. Go get him!
That's what I'm talking about. Chris, oftentimes, he waits for the mayhem. He's not a part of the mayhem. But tonight, he is getting after those Popeyes biscuits out there on the racetrack. I said you might see a little extra elbow grease, some rubbing, some bumps, some bruises on that monster. And that's what I want to see from Chris tonight is he's up there working on the bottom side of that racetrack, going up against the 3-Iran fitting. This is a new form of Chris Claude here, especially in the early going. And Dave, to your point, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you know, Chris is one of those drivers where he just kind of lays here in the weeds all season long. He knows that this is a must-win situation, and furthermore, he himself is a Tennessee volunteer, and there we are, right here in the volunteer state. Of course, Bristol, Tennessee, a very unique place. It straddles the Tennessee and Virginia line. There's a Bristol, Virginia. There's a Bristol, Tennessee. I want to go to the bar. Go figure. Dave's at the bar. But I want to go to the bar that straddles the Virginia-Tennessee line. I think it's fantastic.
And you know what else I think is fantastic? The way that Chris Claude continues to drive with authority out there on the racetrack. In fact, he is in the hornet's nest right now as he currently runs sandwiched in between that one machine right there on the racetrack. However, the 81 there, Samuelson, gets some good momentum there, working that middle groove of the racetrack. But I like the urgency. You know, so what if it's 500 laps? My season is on the line right now, and I can tell you, he is already up on the wheel. He is putting some abuse into that Camry, and that will help him over the course of this race tonight. Dave, one thing we didn't talk about, this racetrack is gonna change a lot. We're coming off of the asphalt, out of the concrete. Those temperatures are down. That Goodyear rubber is going to wear into this racetrack, and this track is going to change a lot. So another factor is these drivers are going to have to stay ahead of that racetrack is the 81 and 1 are out there putting on a show right now with Chris Claude lurking in the 10.
Keeping an eye all over the racetrack. There aren't a whole lot of big gaps here as side-by-side goes McConville and the 81 of Ryan Samuelson, who is reportedly my sister's favorite driver, according to this. And I do have to, of course, oh, geez, oh, cats, there it goes. My sister's favorite driver. And then, reportedly, my mom has a new favorite driver. Do you know anything about it?
No, I may know a guy.
You may know a guy? Listen,
I might.
I'm just, if my mom was going to have a favorite driver, I'm just glad it's you.
Well, I appreciate that, Dave. And, you know, you mentioned Talladega coming up, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I have my A-Class license back on lock. So if there's a promotion before Talladega comes around, I may throw Bergen up in the booth with you, and I may run Talladega if it works out right.
Well, if you let me have Daytona, you can have Talladega. I'll give you that one, and you can give me Allen.
You got to have a little Allen experience in there, right?
Oh, it's an experience, all right, from start to finish. I'll tell you what, there is nobody else here at Sim Racing Media. In fact, and here we go. Under the first caution of the evening, looking for what might have caused this. There it is, Brian Nunemacher. Let's take a look. And here's Nunemacher. Oh, dear. Oh, there's some form of netcode there. People being punted and towed and disappearing all at once.
Nunemacher got Rudebacher.
Ooh, look at you, which is related to Orville Redenbacher.
Extra butter, please.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried about my cholesterol. It'll be fine. Just had the butter conversation earlier today. I don't like it, extra butter. Like, I don't want it to swim in it, but I still want to know that it's popcorn in there,
Right. The movie theater does it pretty well. However, I haven't been to the movies in a long time, so I'm going off of memory per se. But Dave, first caution of the evening comes out on lap 24. Multi-car incident on the racetrack, and you mentioned drivers getting punted, shoved, jousted. Just what you expect here at the Great Coliseum. Going to slow things down here to a crawl. Too early to see anyone come down pit road, probably. But just as I say that, look who's rolling the dice. There's the 10 on pit road. He has some company out there. I love the call by Chris Claude, keeping it real in the field.
Chris Claude is going to be out here trying all kinds of, well, in the words of Bush 43, strategery. And Chris Claude, again, he has got to be one of the hungriest drivers out here. And I'll say this about Chris. I've been watching him for years. We used to be teammates, and he is one of those drivers that at this stage in his season is hungrier than anybody. I mean, right now he's like a hostage in Russia.
Yeah, a hostage, or, oh my God, I suddenly can't speak. A hostage in Russia, but now he has to unleash the beast. Part of the hard side of the monster marketing campaign, if you will. And I love the call down on pit road. But how about the Dew Crew driver, Noble Hamilton in this 45? That car has been lights out, just absolutely flying around here. But Dave, I worry he may be using up those Dr. Feelgoods a little too soon. We're going to have to monitor his progress here as we're going to re-rack, restack this field. Bobby, one of my favorite Andersons, runs there in second. In fact, not much change inside the top three. We have to go back to that driver in that fourth place position. Sean Rockin' Rogers up one spot, resides in that fourth place position, while Paul Hill slides back one and rounds out your top five.
Paul Hill picked up the win last week. I thought maybe we might see him try to take it a little easy this week now that he's punched his ticket, but he's decided to stay aggressive here. And you know what? I don't blame him for taking the Dent Slayer machine and cranking it up to crazy. To ride up here in the top five, I mean, after qualifying in fourth, he's got to be up here with just salivating, waiting for that drop of the next green flag.
You have to be. I mean, especially when you have all that momentum. It just changes the overall, just your vibe before you jump into that virtual cockpit. You just feel like you can go out there and get things done. And that's half of it. I really feel 50% of it is mental. When you jump into a league like this with such great talent, you really have to believe in yourself that you can go out there and get it done. And these drivers that are coming off of strong performances over the past month or so, I mean, these guys are prime time candidates to go out and get it done, especially at a track like here at Bristol. As that green flag is back in the air, back onto the loud pedal, those glorious V8s come roaring back to life here in prime time, Dave.
8 cylinders of thunder times 31 drivers. That's all but 240 cylinders out here, pounding the pavement as we cross the start-finish line again already. You got to remember, folks, this place is only a half mile around. Those lap times are 15 seconds, so you might see 500 here at the top of the scoring pylon, but that 500 is incredibly dwarfed when you think about how much time they're actually spending as they whip around here at 120 miles an hour on a half-mile racetrack.
Yeah, that is absolutely flying. And hey, one of the world's fastest half miles, if not the fastest half mile, if you ask me. And hey, picking right up where we left off, Noah Hamilton in that Mountain Dew Code Red machine continues to lead. But Dave, look who is on the charge. There's that beast mode performance 44, currently up in that P2 position.
Sean Rockin' Rogers here in the 44 beast mode machine. He's got Amanda Price in the live chat as always, as she's checking him, saying, let's go Rogers 44. Mama Mac McConville out of Cape May, she's down there too. On the way to Cape May, I fell in love with Mikey Mack, and where is he over here? He's running right now in 24th position out of the JAR TCR stable. He's got that Bass Pro Shops tracker machine down 10 spots. He had to get out of the way from that wreck earlier, but now he's on the recovery drive, and I'll tell you what, man, this is my guy. If there's anybody that I'm going to go have a beer with, it's going to be Mikey Mack.
Mikey Mack on the attack, as Dave mentioned, had to slam on the binders, shut things down there early, cost him some spots out there on the racetrack, but now he is back surging through the field as you now see him challenging Sean Rogers' partner in crime, the other beast mode performance driver, the 74 Seabiscuit, a.k.a. Chris Davis. He's going to make quick work of him on the high side of the racetrack. In fact, that's a great-looking throwback paint scheme to Martin Truex Jr. back from the DEI days.
I'll tell you what, back during those days, I feel like DEI was just the side of the most special stable in all of NASCAR's. When they're about to go 3 wide back here, holy crap. As we just had some kind of a connection issue, everything caught itself back up, good Lord. And look at this here in the 32. I can't even be mad. Who is that? Oh, it's Matt Cox. Who is that masked man? It's Matt Cox. I don't even know how to feel about it.
Go ahead, Dave.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
Double doink.
The old double doink. I can still do the Chris Collinsworth line for that. I can really nail that. The old double doink. The Bears. You know what? My stepbrother is a Bears fan. I can't even be mad at them. They haven't had any success since, what, 85? It'll be fine.
Yeah, well, back when we had Perry the Fridge in the lineup, Dave.
There's a certain guy that's a coach out there in Chicago, the greatest city of all time. Ditka. Oddly enough, where was Mike Ditka from?
Tell me Chicago.
No. Mike Ditka was from Aliquippa High School in western Pennsylvania.
Oh, get out of here.
Swear to God. Also one of the first receiving tight ends in the National Football League, and he played for, at the time, one of the greatest coaches of all time, one Tom Landry, just outside of Dallas, Texas. He played for the Cowboys.
That was where he played for the Cowboys, but you almost sound like a super fan on the mic there, Dave. Very well done with the impersonation. And when it comes to Collinsworth, you do a very good job of mimicking him as well. As we're now 45 laps flying through this competition. And Dave, to your point, when you're out there turning, high 14, low 15-second lap times, this race is going to fly by quick, fast, and in a hurry. Hamilton continues to carry the torch, but Rogers is doing the best he can to run him down. In fact, slightly quicker than the leader. Rogers 14.81 to Hamilton's 14.87. And you can see the gap closing on the racetrack as Rogers continues to work that higher line and kind of dive in the corner there a little bit on exit.
Yeah, it's an interesting night when you're out there and you know that you're one of the better drivers, and then you and the race leader start to gap everybody else by more than a second at Bristol. And, Sean talked about it earlier on one of these green flag runs, and right now it's been a minute, and I don't want to jinx it. But, I mean, they're going to start catching the rear of the field. They just put Kavaja Holt down a lap. Jeff Carson is going to be next, as we're going to go on board right now with Noah Hamilton. I thought we were. There we go. And Noah Hamilton already can see the front of the field right out the windshield. He can almost sit there and tickle the rear bumper of Jeff Carson.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Dave, but he had a little self-inflicted concrete poisoning there as he got into the wall. And I can guarantee you that's because he's feeling the pressure from the 44. And, going back to Rogers' interview, Dave, you said stay in front of the mayhem. It's good to be at the front of the field. Well, Rogers hit the nail on the head. This is Bristol, baby. It's only, a mile around this place. And, to your point, that mayhem potentially is right out the front windshield of the 45, the 44 of Rogers, as these guys continue to have a laser lock, and I believe that's Jeff Carson there they're coming up on.
I'm soon going to have to close my front window here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth. It smells like somebody is smoking a nasty old stogie outside. Good Lord. It reminds me of the old days. Do you remember back in the day when you would go to like a hoagie shop and you'd walk in and there was like a 90-year-old woman with a hairnet on, but she was smoking a cigarette as she was making your sandwich?
Mama Louie's on Buffalo Ave, just outside of Niagara Falls, New York. The minute you said that, I went back to that time and place. But I'll tell you what, regardless, that stogie added a little extra spice to the meat, and it was so good.
Took the words right out of my mouth. My mouth. It was Chubby's at 3rd and Penn in Reading for me. And I think the old lady underarm sweat dripping into the sandwich was better than the onion vinegar. 3 wide.
Hard to cut you off there. I mean, you want to talk about World War II trench-style warfare out there on the racetrack. These leaders are not playing around with this traffic. I mean, you just see the 45 of Hamilton split the gap 3 wide, no problem. He does not want to get caught in the quicksand out here on the racetrack. Oh, Rogers got a little free there, had to lift. He's now going to clear the 57, turn it back down to the bottom. That's the patience I was talking about right there. Rogers felt that car slip up a little bit. Instead of keeping his foot on the sauce, he backed off a little bit, waited for that car to hook back up, and he carried on. That's a veteran move, and that's the types of things you need to do here at this racetrack to make it to the end.
Yeah, wow, and look at this traffic jam back here at the start-finish line. We're taking a look right here at the Liberty.Live Church, number 17, Chevrolet Camaro. That's Eric Papineau. He's right here, and he's almost in that formation that drives me nuts. It's a diamond formation. They're nearly 3 wide in front of him. Look at Ron Fitting trying to hold off the 17. These guys are all of a sudden getting really chippy, and we're only about halfway through stage number 1. These guys aren't even close, to seeing the checkered flag for sure, but suddenly they go side by side, and something tells me we're about to have something break loose here. As myself, Dave Regal, and Matt Metler are with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth. We want to thank all of you for tuning in with us tonight as we are bringing you all of the live action in the Stacy Strong Cup Series, brought to you by Trisha's Hope. And of course, Trisha's Hope is helping families that are struggling through cancer to pay their bill. Oh, across the nose of Tanner Marty. Good God.
And we're still 3 wide.
I hope the Tide ride's nearby, because he's going to need a marker to get that out of his fire suit.
Yeah, he's carrying a stain stick with him tonight. Remember, he's had a lot of Tide ride moments over the past couple weeks. But Ron Fitting, in the words of Phil Collins, saw that coming in the air tonight. You can see the 3 getting out of Dodge. And Dave, anytime you mention the diamond formation, all the 1 just bonked the back of the 81. A Samuelson, he almost went around. What a save. And here comes that was the 93. I apologize. Those paint schemes look very similar when we're, calling it from the eye in the sky, if you will. Oh, the 82 now gets into the wall. So these cars are starting to get loose, slipping and sliding out there on the racetrack, Dave. 67 laps into this thing. So some of these drivers that did not come down on that first caution flag really now having to fight the handling on that race car.
Yeah, and when they first came down initially, I didn't think that it was going to be that big of a deal. But obviously, whatever they chose to do there really started to keep them competitive. Now, Chris Claude's running at 21st right now. He was one of those drivers that came down, as well as Mikey Mack and Logan Giesbrecht. Now, Claude holding on to the rear of the field. I'm not sure what the strategy might have been, except that when, of course, Noah Hamilton and Matt Cox come on down, that, he gets to stay out, at least if they come down between now and the end of stage number 1. Now, of course, you know, Sean Rogers, who follows Cox, and Cox is right behind Hamilton, I mean, by just about 0.7 of a second. They're starting to get into a lot of this lap traffic, and there it comes as Randall Watkins and the modern-day Silver Fox, Neil Pearson, just got into it.
Mayhem breaks out once again here at Bristol. Second caution for incident tonight. The modern-day Silver Fox, one of the thunderous forces here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series. We go back to the SRM instant replay here and watch what broke out here on the racetrack. The meeting of the minds right there, Dave. You can't have two race cars occupy the same space. Then they headbutt there at the top shelf of the racetrack, doing a great job of keeping those cars locked up to the high side. Wait till it's clear. You see the 58 come down. But nonetheless, that's going to be a little bit of the crunch and munch special on Mr. 305. And here comes everyone at the front of the field coming down. And right on cue, these guys probably were begging for a caution as we really started to see the handling on those race cars go away.
Well, I mean, here they're going to come down pit road. It's going to be Hamilton and everybody down through 20th position. Now we start to see whether or not Chris Claude's going to stay out. He chooses to come down. So Chris Claude's going to stay down a lap, or maybe nearly down a lap. Did Chris manage to stay out of that one? Oh, this could be interesting.
I believe he was able to stay ahead of the leader there right before the caution came out, Dave. We now watch the 45 of continuing service. There's the jack drop, waiting on fuel. Oh, we're going right and left sides here. As we're playing tricks on me, there's the jack drop. There he goes. He should win the race off of pit road. A hard challenge there, though, by the 36 of Cox. Looks like he's going to come out P2. Rogers is going to hold on to that third place position. Robbie Anderson, the Dent Slayer, Machine Hill, Holt, Center, Papineau, and McConville. That's going to be the top 10 here. As we're now working lap 73 of the scheduled 500 right here on Sim Racing Media. Matt Metler, and always the man, the myth, the legend, the voice of the Stacy Strong Cup Series, Dave Regal at the helm, as you guys are in for a thriller with us here tonight.
It's a scary thought to think that I'm at the helm. Good Lord.
You pretty much are.
Well, you know, I mean, just because I cover Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, oh yeah, I guess that does make me the voice, huh?
Pretty much.
You know, I didn't think all those years ago that I would start as a driver and then wind up here in the broadcast booth, but now I know what Michael Waltrip feels like. You have a little bit of success out on the racetrack, and then all of a sudden they say, yeah, but listen, pal, you're
at the helm, and then you throw lawn darts at me while I try to keep up with you and call this race.
Right. Basically what I do, I should get like a top hat and just wear it like a ringmaster is what I should be. But I want to welcome everybody in tonight, of course, across the nation, here into the YouTube.com live chat. We want to thank you for letting us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening, especially those of you who are folding laundry on a Sunday night. Of course, you know, you've got to get ready for the work week. But before we get ready for that work week, we've got to see that checkered flag fly here tonight. But I don't know about you, Matt, but folding laundry is like a necessary evil. And everybody has to do it unless you're fancy and, you know, you can afford somebody to do it for you.
Oh, you know what? Forget folding laundry. Green flags back in the air at the last great Coliseum. Let's get back to the wild side here at Bristol. 45's going to fire out of the cannon. That TRD-powered machine is good on those restarts. Speaking of Dub Bears, there he is, Matty Cox there in the 32 machine. He is not going to let Hamilton get away this time. In fact, he's going to send it on the high side of the racetrack. Top shelf for Mama hides the cookies. The 32 wants the lead.
And here they go, side by side, rolling out of turn 4, back to the start-finish line. There's Noah Hamilton. You know, we were talking about folding laundry just a moment ago. Let's find the tide ride and who has that tonight, because I know it was floating around. You know, at this point, I've always been curious. Who does that for a race car driver? Do they have somebody that does that, or do they do it themselves? And furthermore, there it is. There's the tide ride. Bouncing around here. It's Chris Custer out of Ohio. And he's got a little bit of Downy. Do you like the Downy in your laundry?
Or down with the sickness versus the Downy, buddy, if that makes sense.
Well, I've been down with a lot of things, trust me.
Hey, nothing wrong with some Downy fabric softener. You know, the wife's all about that on the towels, this, that, and the other. It really doesn't do much for me. If anything, it makes me itch, but that's just because I'm sensitive to that kind of stuff.
I never had you as being sensitive.
Comes to fabric softener.
Oh, when it comes to fabrics, that's where you draw the line?
That's where I draw the line.
Well,
Getting back to marine base. You know, if it doesn't have a lot of sand and grit in it, it's not comfortable.
Great. You cut the guy's hair to a flat top, and all of a sudden he's got sensitive skin. How tall are you, by the way?
Not tall enough.
No? Do you have
I'm
like
like-
an actual height?
I'm like 5'9" on a good day.
I didn't even know they stacked shit that high.
I didn't either. Hey, but I'm living proof.
Guy was watching Full Metal Jacket.
I heard shades of the Gunny in there, Dave.
Love it. Love every minute of it. Logan Giesbrecht here, speaking of the Gunny. Check out the 84s. He's going to work over top of the 74 of Chris Davis. Chris Davis now holding his own here on the low side. He's got to be able to use more of the racetrack. I mean, you know, you get pinned down one side or the other on this racetrack, and all of a sudden you're slow. You know, if you're on the high side, you've got to be able to, you know, back up that braking line, loosen the carb so you can rotate the corner. If you get stuck on the bottom, you've got to drive it in there hard, and then all of a sudden you're chewing your tires up like a cheese grater. There is no safe place on this racetrack from top to bottom.
No, there's no place you can crawl into a hole and hide. It's really hard to do with the Mark Martins, the Jeff Bortons, some of the drivers of the golden era, you know, were able to do at this racetrack. It's a lot different Bristol now than it was back then. But even so, I mean, we've seen it just before that second caution sequence. I mean, Matty Cox, Bobby Anderson, those leaders out there on the racetrack, I mean, they were literally trying to charge through that traffic like it was 10 to go. You could feel the hornet's nest brewing. In fact, you saw it coming, Dave, and that's why, to your point, no place is safe out here on the racetrack. The only thing you're gunning for is a checkered flag and hoping you're P1 when you cross that start-finish line and survive and be alive until the end.
Survive and be alive is the name of the game. Of course, if you were watching other things today, we want to take a peek around the National Football League. If you're a Cowboys fan, you hate your life. They lost 28-25, and it wasn't even that close, as they scored 19 points in the fourth quarter for absolutely no reason, and quite frankly, I should probably be on the suicide watch list. The Packers beat the Titans 30-14. That doesn't make Chris Claude very happy, as the Bears fall to the Colts 21-16. There's also a certain team that plays in South Philadelphia that went marching in to the Superdome down in New Orleans today, and I, quite frankly, I will not be wearing anything blue all week now that they have won and the Cowboys have lost.
I have two words for you. Saquon Barkley. I mean, he was a football running machine. I mean, a couple tutties, over 100 yards. And I know you're up there in Philly, but you know you're a red, white, and blue fan, America's team. But I got to tell you, Dave, I don't know. Every season, you know, all the naysayers say, "Oh, this is the year Dallas turns it around. It's going to be this year." I've been hearing it since 2017-18. This is going to be the year. I still haven't seen it yet. And guess what? The NFL's most overrated player, Josh Allen. No receiving core, no Gabe Davis, no this, no that. 2-0 going into a primetime game on Monday night. I don't hear anyone screaming NFL's most overrated player anymore, my friend.
No, you know what? I do admire Josh Allen because he has basically been rubbing two sticks together to make fire up there in Buffalo. And this just in, and this is from suburban Philadelphia, apparently. And I cannot refute this because otherwise it lowers my application process. The Cowboys suck. That is a definitive. This just in moment. Just saying. That's all. I mean, there's an application process for. And we're under caution. But Jesus Christ!
We have multiple cars going helicopter mode as the big one has popped off here at Bristol.
Holy Moses on a rocket-powered pogo stick. This is a disaster.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling here this replay is going to make me sick to my stomach, Dave.
Well, if you were sitting in the car, you'd be sick. You'd definitely have the spins, that's for sure. Let's take a look here at the 84. Across the nose of the 58 goes Kavaja Holt. The 58 comes down, tags the 84 of Logan Giesbrecht.
What a move by Chris Claude.
Chris
that
Claude
is
gets-
the signature
good
move
Lord.
right there. That's what he does, and that's what he needed to do tonight, Dave. I'm going to shut up and let you go ahead. I'm just pumped up because
No,
Chris
listen.
is out there driving tonight.
After this move by Chris Claude here, we should start calling him Houdini. Watch this. The whole wreck is about to unfold in front of Chris Claude. He sees it. He gets on the binders. He gives himself enough time and just scoots
Yikes.
past Giesbrecht.
The spinning
as Chris-
howitzer coming at him.
Good Lord. It's going to take Chris a minute to get his heart back under control. He's a Titans fan anyway. Now, I did want to point out that ESPN is going to have Monday Night Football tomorrow night. It's a doubleheader, one at 7:30 and one at 8:15. I cannot explain this whatsoever.
It racks my brain when they do that. That's like competing with yourself on just multiple levels. And what game does the Manning cast cover? Do they cover both?
They barely cover one.
God. I like the Manning cast because there's a lot of comedy in there. Plus, you get to see that other side of Bill Belichick. You know, that was my Darth Vader growing up as a kid, you know, being from Buffalo, New York. So now to see this other side of Belichick that's not, you know, basically like watching, you know, him out there pointing the finger at me and telling me I'm going to die, as he did for all those years, you know, throughout the middle school and my high school years. You know, he actually has a personality. He's colorful. I never would have thought Belichick had that side, and that's one of the things I like about the Manning cast. But then again, you got two different games competing with each other. I'll be watching the Bills game, but hey, if you're not a Bills fan, how do you decide?
I mean, you know, here's the thing. Now, as a Cowboys fan since my childhood, for reasons I'm not quite sure of, I didn't like Andy Reid growing up, but I had to eventually get over it, especially when he got out of the division and went to Kansas City. Now, I like Big Red. He seems a little bit more fun, and sometimes I think it's the situation that you're in. I think when all of a sudden you're in a good headspace, you know, you can really shine as a human being. Maybe Belichick I think he pigeonholed himself into being a curmudgeon.
That very well could be the case.
And to boot, now he gets to hang out with two quarterbacks, one that both of them beat him. Let's see, Peyton had beaten him in the AFC Championship game once, and he lost to Eli twice in the Super Bowl. So you don't have a choice but to eat a little bit of crow and maybe smile. Because I personally didn't know that was an emotion that he could share anywhere, quite frankly. I don't think his O face was a smile.
No, it was anything but a smile. But if there's one Manning that
Can you imagine the morning after with him?
Oh,
we're going there.
I
just want you to
commented on that. I forget what show it was on. It may have been the one with the Kelsey brothers. As that pace car pulls off, Cox gonna have the button. Sean Rogers on the front row. The Bears, they punch the ticket here. Green flag in the air once again. Matty Cox rips it on the high side of the racetrack. Sean Rockin' Rogers is going to send it like mama's cooking on the bottom of the racetrack. But, Dave, that 32 really shoots out of a cannon. Or 30,
the 30.
36 in timing and scoring, however, on the racetrack.
It's the 32.
32.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Listen, I'm telling you right now, Cox is holding it high, wide, and handsome right now as he leads Sean Rogers here on lap number 108. We're just about 15 from the end now of stage number 1. We've really plowed our way through this, and Cox is leading the way as he gets right up here to the rear bumper of the 88. Matt Witt gets out of the way and allows him some space. And, a rub of the wall from Cox. You never want to – never mind. That almost got us fired.
I meant to say, you never want to rub the Cox the wrong way as he got into the piece of the wall. In fact, he got up there into that safer barrier again. Paul Witt there in the 88, he is running him like Ryan Newman used to out there on the racetrack as he is holding on for dear life. But this is now slowing down Cox's forward momentum. Look who is right there knocking on the back door. Sean Rogers, Noah Hamilton, Paul Hill is now right there. This is a four-way battle for the lead, Dave.
Four-way battle for the lead. Watch the 88 have to get out of the way. That's Michael Witt. He's about to go down a lap. Sean Rogers, Noah Hamilton, and Paul Hill, they're all in tow. And Paul Hill at this point is probably in the best position right now because Hamilton almost too close to the fire. He could get burned as they nearly go three. Whoa, there it is.
Oh, God.
The 88 rubbed Cox hard and now sends him a little bit loose here down toward the bottom of the racetrack. They're going to rub again, maybe, as they go side by side into turn 3.
Yeah, they were just high-fiving each other. They're out there on the racetrack. You think that didn't ruffle the feathers there just a little bit. Is now the 32 of Cox now able to clear as we're now working lap 114 of the scheduled 500. Stage 1 just around the corner.
Matt Cox, Sean Rogers, Paul Hill, Noah Hamilton, Cody McCorkle, Eric Papineau, Chris Davis, Tane Hodison, Ron Fitting, Tanner Marty. That's your top 10. And there is our last, what hopefully will be the last caution of the stage. And I just saw somebody floating helplessly here.
Oh, the 88's got pug face. And remember, he was just putting up a huge battle there, trying to claw for his life to stay on the lead lap. Go back to the SRM instant replay. You can see him run on the top shelf. Oh, jeez.
It wasn't even his fault.
Wrong place.
Let's watch this
right
from
time.
Paul Hill's perspective. Good God. Let's see if we can tighten things up here. Let's watch Paul Hill. Now the 45 goes to split them 3 wide. And they go 3 wide. Paul Hill got dragged up into him by some dirty air. And he took the brunt of that.
Yeah, I don't think Paul Hill thought in a million years that they were going to try to go 3 wide there. And again, poor patience can sometimes equal bad execution and decision-making out there on the racetrack, Dave. And those drivers are lucky that wasn't bigger than it was. Remember, no jokers up the sleeve, no fast repairs here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series. So if you wad that car up, it's going to be a long way back home sitting in that trailer early should you not make it here to the end. That was a big-time moment out there on the racetrack, but could have been a lot worse. Is this now working caution number 4 here from Bristol?
118 laps. It's going to be 7 to go at the line here in stage number 1. We've had a lot of good racing all night long, and I got to be honest with you. I mean, I didn't think that we would get this far with just 4 cautions. I was watching a public race earlier, and immediately, I generally only use that for rehearsal and while I'm getting graphics and things ready. But they had 14 cautions in less than 100 laps.
Yeah, earlier this week, 200 laps for 22 cautions. So we are trending much better than some of the racing that I covered earlier in the week. But Dave, you come to expect that with the stars featured here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series. Is the Bears continue to dominate here from Bristol. Sean Rockin' Rogers, Cody McCorkle, Noah Hamilton, Eric Papineau. Where did he come from? He is up 18 spots, cracked the top 5. Tane Hodison, Chris Davis coming from deep in the field. They hold down that 6th and 7th place position. The Pennsylvania man, Ron Fitting, he is up 8 spots. He's in P8. Tanner Marty and Austin Call round out the top 10.
As we come out of turn number 4, we're going to take one quick break here before we go to the... Nope, we're not going to have time. Looks like they're going to go 1 to green as they have all gone side by side. Drivers getting themselves lined up. I thought we had it. We don't have it. Every now and then you want it to last longer, and sometimes it doesn't. That's the story of Matt Cox's life. I mean, seriously, they handed us a loaded gun.
I do admit it. I love you.
It's my job, pal. It's my job. I mean, where else can you get away with things like this? I know I certainly can't Monday through Friday on Magic 105.5.
can always test the waters as the green flag is back in the air once again. And like deja vu, the 32 fires out of a cannon. And my 5-year-old sees Sean Rogers in second and is instantly having a nuclear meltdown. We still have plenty of time here. We're only 122 laps into this piece. Remember, the longer Rogers runs, the better he gets, son. There's plenty of time. Keep the faith, my buddy.
Oh, I have a new one for you. So Mama Mac says, let's chat about the race rather than other sports. I'll get around to it, Mama Mac. Don't you worry. As Amanda Price is still cheering on the 44, and Paid Guitar says Cox got chopped on that. I think we're going to have to start calling that a circumcision. As Matt Cox leads this race now just ahead of Sean Rogers. My partner's picking himself up off the floor, and it's going to be so far so good for Matt Cox, Sean Rogers, and Noah Hamilton. They've already got good control over the top 3 of this race. We're watching Eric Papineau. He's holding down 6th position and trying to creep in on Cody McCorkle in the 82. Matt Cox rolls it down out of turn number 4. He can see the checkered flag, the green and white checkered flag waving. And just as we see Tanner Marty cross the start-finish line, that will conclude stage number 1.
Stage 1 in the books, ladies and gentlemen, and it has been a thriller from the drop of the checkered flag. We've already seen it all, the carnage, the mayhem, the high-octane racing at the high banks here at Bristol. Is Matt Cox going to get a very deserving stage win here? Sean Rogers, Noel Hamilton, as Dave went through the finishing order there, all going to get some very, very well-deserved stage points, something in high demand, as we're now quite frankly in the midst of the playoffs. You know, Dave, some of these drivers like Ron Fitting, Austin Call, I mean, they have come from way back in the pack. Interested to see how they continue to trend here after they get some fresh Dr. Feelgoods. Can any of these guys come up there and challenge Rogers Cox? You're going to have to stay strapped right in, locked and loaded on SRM to find out.
Strapped in, strapped on to SRM. We appreciate all of you as Matt Cox leads the field down pit road. And of course, we use the full pit roads here in this league. So this is a long drive for many of these guys, especially if you're, Matt Cox. Now, Austin Call stays out. That's an interesting choice. So does Bobby Anderson. They were each down on lap 102. Now, Bobby Anderson, I talked about it earlier. He's one of those drivers that can save tires. He is just a wizard. As now we come around to where the bulk of the drivers will be able to pull in and get that pit road service. Here comes Cox.
Cox is going to lock it down in his box. Waiting for that jack to go up. There we go. You're going to see 4 tires. Those Dr. Feelbads come off. The Dr. Feelgoods come on. And remember, folks at home, if you go over that line, you cannot start service on that race car. You got to put it in reverse. And I believe joining me up here in the broadcast booth,
Yep,
Cox.
I just grabbed Cox. There you go.
Oh, hey guys, what's up?
Hey, not too much, man. You got the Bears out there on the race car, and you are vibing out there on the racetrack. Stage 1 winner, walk me through that first stint, bud.
Well, I just tried to drive the car as fast as it would go, and we won the stage. So, pretty simple, I think.
You make it sound so easy out there, but I'll tell you what, that car is a monster on those restarts. How are you able to get that thing to hook up out of the hole like that?
Yeah, starting on top is really key to doing all that. Just being able to drive up off the corner or into the corner up top and then cut it down the track. You can really carry a lot of momentum out of 2 on the restarts. So, super important.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt, before we cut you loose here, 500 laps here. This track is going to probably change a lot. How do you have planned to stay ahead of it and make sure that car has the same performance as it does now at the end of this thing?
Well, I started it off a little bit looser, so hopefully it'll come to me even more as the night goes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, if that car comes to you even more than what it is now, this field is in trouble. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, stage 1 winner, Matt L. Cox. We'll let you back over to your team. Good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for joining us up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth, bud.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Appreciate you. And Dave, you heard it from the man's mouth. this car still may have some more left in it.
I mean, look, these guys from the Beast Mode Performance stable are incredible. I mean, right now they're side by side. There's Cox and Rogers side by side. And, I mean, everybody that's got that Beast Mode branding on it, we're looking for great things out of them. You can even see right here on that bottom side skirt here on the right-hand side, the Beast Mode logo right in front of that right wheel, the right rear.
Yeah, it is there. However, not as loud as some of the other drivers, but I like that. And nonetheless, Beast Mode Performance always represents well each and every time they're on the racetrack. Is Austin Call going to have the trigger here, up 24 positions, Dave?
The Aflac number 40 alongside the number 18 M&M's machine. Of course, M&M Mars no longer a proud sponsor of real-life NASCAR because, well, they suck. But here we go. All of a sudden, Austin Call gets the jump over the field. Holy crap! On old tires, he didn't spin them and got an amazing restart.
He must have heard me talking about Matt Cox and said, Matt, watch this. I got something for you with the duck. But here comes those fresh tires now. However, Bobby Anderson in that 18 machine, he stayed out there on those old tires as well. And as you said, he is a Houdini. He is a wizard, saving those Goodyear Eagles as they continue to run 1-2. However, Sean Rogers now creeps into that third place position. In fact, they are in a gridlock for that third and fourth place position, side by side for the Beast Mode drivers, Dave.
They're not giving up. They're not being great teammates right now. They decided, hey, listen, we're going to go out here and have a little bit of fun. And I feel like if you're going to be out there competing with your teammate, this is the time to do it. Do it with some fresh tires. You both know that you're, great drivers, safe drivers. So go ahead and test the water a little bit as we work here on lap 137. We're now working our way toward lap 250 as we see now working the high side. There's the 82 of Cody McCorkle. He found some speed up atop of Chris Davis, and he's going to stay up here in that clean, the clean concrete up there for the time being. We can start to see a little bit of gray working its way in here to the racetrack down toward the bottom. We can start to see some of those tire marks and skid marks. That's some of the grip wearing off of the tires and into the racetrack, and we're going to see a lot of this racetrack be darn near black before the end.
We certainly can, just as we can see some of your skid marks up here in your captain's chair from time to time, as these drivers tend to really spice things up, and it can sometimes carry over and add to eruptions up here in the broadcast booth. Plenty of times as I've had to scrape myself off the floor 2 times so far tonight, as Dave mentioned earlier on in the broadcast. But how about Austin Call? This man started in the next county. I mean, not 12 positions, not 14 positions, up 24 positions. But right now we're going to focus there on that 82 machine of Cody McCorkle, up 4 spots solidly. And just as I call him out, the 82 is off the pace, almost invoking the broadcaster's curse. Dave, I hope we don't go down that road again tonight. Apparently, I have broke Dave Regal. So Dave 2, Matt 1.
I will I will get it together.
Now you have me laughing because I'm thinking about it. But Cody McCorkle here nonetheless. Oh, we got to get off that 82. I smell. I'm about to invoke the broadcaster's curse. Thank you, Dave. Send it back up to the point.
Got it.
Got it. Austin Call continues to carry the torch. Rod fitting now. And now Dave is just messing with me. How about we go back to the storyline from the top of the broadcast? The man who is fighting for his life. And thus far, Dave, he has answered the call. Chris Claude was running just outside the top 10 and then 11th place position. Lost some spots on pit road, but he is fighting out there. He is determined. He is on the attack, and he currently runs in that 16th place position and on the lead lap, I might add.
Look, I've known Chris for a number of years, and he's one of these drivers that usually he's ho-hum, let's just get to the end of the race. But tonight, there is some kind of fire in his belly as he's trying to stay up here ahead right now of Keith Long. We go back to the front of the pack, and Austin Call still leads this race over top of Sean Rogers. All of a sudden, it's a little bit of Toyota on Chevy action here as we look back through our manufacturers for the time being. Check this out. We've got a nice little salad bowl of manufacturers. We've got Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford, Toyota, Ford, Ford, Chevy. Oh, the 44 goes down the racetrack.
How did Rogers save that? I mean, that was a heat-seeking missile delivered by Austin Gall to the 44 as he got loose off the top of the racetrack, and Rogers with probably one of the most incredible saves I have ever seen at Bristol in my life. Dave, that is supposed to be instant death. Game over when that happens.
Yeah, but if you're going to do it to somebody, you might as well do it to somebody who's really good at what they do, because, you know, right now, the only scary thing is I wouldn't want to be Austin Call when Sean Rogers gets back up there.
You know, that might, you know, sometimes when you have some moments out there on the racetracks, and that was definitely, forget Code Brown, that was code everything. For Sean Rogers, the last thing you want to make that beast mode driver do is go feast mode, and I think that wick may have been lit. And let's see what happens if he catches back up to the 40 of Austin Call.
It's an interesting way to get around here. Now Sean Rogers is going to have a ton of traffic to drive through as we work lap 154, less than 100 to go now in stage 2. As Noah Hamilton is going to now challenge for the... Oh, there he goes! Punted! Cox just punted him.
Oh, he drove straight through him. I don't think he lifted.
No, here we go. Watch this from the blimp cam. Hamilton gets to the low side. Cox holds his line, never comes off. Hamilton got a little bit loose right there. Right there. Watch this. Watch the rear end. Ugh. He lost a little bit of grip. He might have been okay. Of course, now it's too tough to tell. Ay.
Yeah. Well, I can honestly say, you know, working lap 156 of 500, the give and take seems to be out the window as, well, the Bears got punted. As we're now slowing things down once again under caution here from Bristol Motor Speedway. Myself, Dave Regal, right here live on SRM. We're going to step aside, pay some bills, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back momentarily right after this.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand outside. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down in the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh,
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway, where we are underway here on lap number 163. Dave Regal and Matt Metler with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as we come back from break, watching Ryan Samuelson now trying to suddenly take it 3 wide. Oh, he bounces off the 19, gets himself turned, and we go under caution almost instantly. Oh, and involved in it is Chris Claude, but I don't think he got it too bad. Oh, that's not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of angry drivers in this one, that's for sure. Let's take a look at this from Chris's perspective, because, again, this is one that he certainly didn't cause. Right in front of our very eyes, Chris goes high, gets on the binders, and Papineau comes sliding back up the field. That's got to be frustrating for Chris Claude as he gets wrapped up into this. We only had a couple of green flag laps under our belts when we came back. But Tane Hodison's your current race leader. He's going to be joined on the front row by Paul Hill, Chris Davis, Ron Fitting, Matt Cox, Austin Call, Bobby Anderson, Chris Claude, and Matt Mack, and that's your top 10 for the time being. $167 laps in the books tonight. And, you know, here we are deep into the playoff race. We talked about it earlier. We'll take another quick peek at it here. There it goes. There's our point standings for tonight as we come in. Just those top 16 drivers. And, I mean, Sean Rogers, who just got punted a little while ago, he's still on the recovery drive in the 44. That's not going to feel very good to him. But Matty Long, Neil Pearson, Paul Hill, Bobby Anderson, they're all up here trying to get it done. Now, Matt Long, I see conspicuously is missing from tonight's field. We see Keith Long, but not Matt. Kind of an interesting development. Of course, you know, when you're in the playoffs, you don't want to be missing a race whatsoever, especially, you know, Matt Long being P2. That's healthy, but it's not healthy enough if you need to make that transfer spot. I want to encourage everyone, of course, to tune in tomorrow night and Tuesday night as we'll be live here on the air, bringing you all of the action from the Xfinity and the Truck Series right here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Of course, when I say we, I mean me, as the voice of Sunday Night NASCAR. Going to be solo the next 2 nights, as always. Maybe a special appearance from Alan Bergen.
Alan Bergen, the dog father. You always seem to have a revolving door of special guests, Dave.
Oh, they're special.
Just, well, I just had to contort myself and get out of the virtual cutaway car as I stepped away, and my son decided to put me in the cockpit, and glad to be back up here in the broadcast booth with you, Dave.
I'm always glad when you're up here with me, buddy. I'm telling you right now. But the one thing that I feel like we need to talk about is Alan Bergen. I know that he's probably listening because, you know, he's Alan. But first of all, we wouldn't get half the things done that we do without him and everything that he does behind the scenes. Alan Bergen, if we had an Employee of the Month award, he would be it every time.
Alan Bergen is the Gruden grinder of SRM, in fact, of esports probably around the world. His green flag back in the air, almost said word. I don't even know why.
The bird is the word.
The bird is the word. Word. Oh, 3 wide there. Good Lord Jesus. Dave, I don't like this. Come right off the restart like that. These race cars are racked and stacked right on top of each other. That's a good way to tear up 10, 15 race cars. There's the grease monkey. Oh, there goes Matt Mackin, not shellacking once again as he's going to go wrong way up against the fence, and I could see that was coming just from how antsy these guys were from the drop of the green flag there on that restart. Clearly, he got punted.
Just as I clicked his name, bad things happened.
Oh, man.
Mackin washes right up in front of Tanner Marty.
Oh,
Marty
no.
gives him a bump.
That was not Marty's fault at all. Mackin probably had no idea the 29 was up the hill there on the racetrack, and as I said earlier, 2 cars cannot occupy the same space on the racetrack. That's just a Bristol deal there. Unfortunate, but both those drivers should be able to carry on here throughout the course of this race. Now working lap 174. I'm Matt Metler. He's Dave Regal. Tane Hodison going to pull it down pit road here. In fact, Paul Hill going to come with him. Seeing some of the alternate strategies out there tonight, as we heard Bobby Anderson mention, he's going to go big here tonight, going to go off sequence from the get-go. And it looks like the 93 and Paul Hill have a similar strategy call in the vector right now, as you can see them making their way on pit road. And as Dave mentioned earlier, both pit lanes in play here tonight. SNN, the Stacy Strong Cup Series, strive to make these sim races as real life as possible. And have to tip the hat to Chris Claude for all of the hard work. And in fact, if you're following along with us as we monitor his progress tonight, still on the lead lap, as he's currently on pit road there now as well, Dave.
Yeah, Chris Claude down pit road right now. He's going to get a little bit more repair done to the 10. The problem is when you're here at Bristol, you only have a few seconds. It's not like, if you have some damage on your car and you're at Talladega, you've got a good 2.5 minutes before they make it back around you. When you're at Bristol, you're watching and listening for that spotter to say, how many car lengths away that they are from you, because you don't want to lose that position and go down a lap. So Chris is fighting his way here. He must have, for the most part, he must have some cosmetic damage, but I know he wouldn't be spending this much time on pit road unless there was something mechanical wrong with the 10.
Yeah, you can see he's got a lot of damage there to the front valence of that race car. It looked like he had a little extra toe there in the left front as well. So without question, probably just trying to get the drive in that car a little bit better balanced. It may not show up in the short run, but over the course of the long run, that's where that damage will show its ugly face. However, doing a great job hanging on here, fighting through it as he continues to run in that 15th place position.
Taking a look here from the inside, I just want to see when he hits this front stretch where the wheel points to. It looks like his wheel is pretty well set, so I don't see a problem with the toe length there. Chris is getting more camera time tonight for running in 15th position than anybody ever has.
Hey, it's not every night you see this kind of aggression out of Chris Claude. Usually, he's the one trying to stay out of the mayhem. I don't want to say he is the mayhem, but he is packing some heat out there on the racetrack. We've seen him be aggressive, and I love just watching Chris dial it up here as that pace car pulls off at pit road. And there goes the Bears one more time as he rocket ships to the lead in the turns 1 and 2 complex. Took off like a Nissan GTR with 1,000 horsepower and all-wheel drive, Dave.
And all of a sudden behind him, everybody is scrambling to figure out what to do. It's almost like he had Agent J next to him saying, hit the little red button, hit the red button. And he just took off. Austin Call now running P2, 4/10 of a second behind Matt Cox. Now, Cox came in last on lap 157, so it's been a little while for him. And we're starting to get a little bit of a salad bowl here for the pit strategies up atop the pile. You can check that out right here on your screens. Good Lord, they're all different.
Everyone trying to dial up. It looks like the annexation of Puerto Rico from the Little Giants on that pit stop strategy stint length graphic.
The annexation of Puerto Rico, a play that I've never seen, but I really want to.
Oh, all you have to do is queue up the Little Giants there, buddy.
Jamie Call looking for an explanation of why I said the 40 punted to 44.
Well,
because it just looked that way. I mean, I didn't see a foot come out, but in race terms, it sure looked that way.
Well, there was certainly contact, which resulted in that car being sent. Taking a look here at Keith Long, having a very silent but very productive run here tonight thus far. Inside the top 15, he has entrenched himself in that 12th place position, up 5 spots from where he started. Paul Hill just up the road from him. Remember, he was up towards the front of this piece, recently down pit road, though, so he is on a little bit of a recovery drive. There's the 62 of John Wilco having a heck of a run. One of your Pennsylvania boys there, David.
Look at that right there. Except no substitutes. It's the Tasty Cake machine. My man.
And he's serving up some oh my God, I can't even talk right now, Dave. You got me roaring up here.
Tasty Cake. Just read it. Just right across there. It just says Tasty Cake.
I know it's Tasty Cake. You had me snickering here, and I was trying not to laugh.
No, Tasty Cakes, not Snickers.
Yeah, I hate you.
You know, here's the thing with Tasty Cake. You have to have a favorite. Now, me personally, I am a big fan of the butterscotch crimpet, which has gotten smaller over the years. You can tell that those of us of the larger chassis persuasion like their butterscotch crimpets to be fluffy. But I'm also a big fan of I also love the honey buns. They're good. Speaking of honey buns, let's take a look up here at Matt Cox. He's got the Bears machine up here running in the lead, and he's about to put Tanner Marty down a lap, and we've only been green flag racing for a couple of laps.
Well, remember, Tanner Marty there had that big-time contact with Matty Mackin just moments ago, so perhaps the balance on that race car is not to the driver of the 29's liking. In fact, if you look at the pace there, yeah, there is something not vibing or gelling right with the 29. He's about a half second off the pace right now as Cox in that Dark Horse Ford Mustang continues to put up a blistering pace in that lap. Also, passed his car on the racetrack, clocking in at a 14.58, Dave.
Now, the one thing that I want to point out as we go back to John Wilco is he's got that fall color on there, of course, with pumpkin spice. It is pumpkin spice season. Are you a pumpkin spice kind of guy?
I'm really not a fan of anything pumpkin. Not even traditional pumpkin pie.
However, even traditional pumpkin pie.
No, not even traditional pumpkin pie. I like carving pumpkins. That's about it, buddy. However, I can tell you from my adventures throughout the country, the only place I could really find Tasty Cake products is in the state of Pennsylvania.
That's it. Pennsylvania and, oddly enough, South Carolina for some reason.
What?
Yes. Well, actually, if you can also go to any Wawa down the 95 corridor and find it as well.
Not here in Florida. I mean, they've started popping up everywhere here in the state of Florida. Caution on the racetrack. Sorry to cut you off there, Dave.
You're welcome. You can borrow Wawa, but it's ours.
Another thing that started in Pennsylvania.
Let's take a look here. Actually, the owner of Wawa moved to Clearwater Beach years ago, hence why they're there. But
oh,
wow.
God, Mackin does it again.
Oh, Lord. Mackin just washed up the track.
Understand the line that Matt Mackin is running, and that's a pretty popular line here at Bristol. However, you do have to be you do have to have that, that situational awareness and know where those other cars are on the racetrack. That's just a byproduct of this racetrack. A lot of speed here, high bankings, and when these cars load the G's in the corner, it naturally wants to come up the hill. And unfortunately, another innocent bystander there looks like everyone here on the lead lap, or most of the drivers, I should say, on pit road. There's the 32, the 45, the Code Red Machine, Sean Rockin' Rogers, the Mean Machine, Bobby Anderson, Chris Davis, all coming down pit road.
By the way, I thought about a way that you could get your hands on some tasty cakes. But, it would involve you having to come to Miami. And you decided for the second year in a row that you're not going. And we've talked about why you're not coming, and I understand and respect that, and I love you for it. But maybe on my way over top of, Port St. Lucie, I'll throw some out the airplane.
There you go. A couple parachutes and a homing beacon, and we're all set.
Well, it's either that or it's also been suggested to me here that I should send you some. And we have a honey bun. We have a honey bun connoisseur down here in paid guitar.
I'll take the guitar. So we now slow things back down here once again. Sometimes cautions breed cautions out there on the racetrack, in the words of DW. And that's kind of what is kind of unfolding here right now, live on Sim Racing Media, as Austin continues to answer the call here, leading this piece as he currently runs in that first place position. Tane Hodison doing a great job holding on there in second. Paul Hill now up to third. Mike McConville holds down fourth, while Logan Giesbrick rounds out the top five. Keith Long, Matt Elcox, and Noah Hamilton, that's the top eight. Well, Bobby, one of my favorite Andersons, in ninth, and Sean Rockin' Rogers holds down to that 10th place position.
Paid Guitar saying that at this pace, everybody's going to get their lap back, and he may not be wrong, as we're 50 to go here in stage 2. We've been ripping them off as fast as possible, but we're getting into that dog days kind of segment of the race where you're 50 laps away from the end of stage 2. You're 300 laps away from the end of the race, and everybody's getting a little chippy here. I think that's contributing to a lot of what we're seeing right now.
That's exactly, you hit the nail right on the head, chippy. And each time that caution flag comes out, the emotion, that dial turns up just a little bit more. The laps continue to wind down. Now we're going to have to see some of these crew chiefs, these spotters, get on the radio, be the voice of reason, remind these drivers there's still an eternity left to go in this race, and you can't be beating and banging just yet. As Austin called, the words of Cletus McFarland, lets her rip tater chip one more time as he continues to lead. Mike McConville gets a great restart there on the high side.
That's my boy Mikey Mack on the high side, just ahead of Paul Hill. Check out the Bass Pro Shops machine as he's getting ready to try to sling it underneath. Wow, the 93 of Tane Hodison. Now he's going to have to go side by side here with Paul Hill as he's going to beat him down the backstretch and into turn number 3. As we roll out of 4, he's going to get a great run over top of Paul Hill.
Yeah, but Paul Hill is able to have that Dent Slayer machine really send it on the bottom, and then return to the Mac, gets that thing ripping on the high side of the racetrack. That was great awareness there by Mr. Mack there. He had a big run coming from the high side. He went to turn it down to the bottom. However, Paul Hill had it plugged, and the one had to check up and keep that car up top to avoid contact there. That's what I was talking about earlier in the race. These drivers almost having a sixth sense out there, and for some of these veterans, that's really shining through right now. And we are clicking off some fast lap times, Dave. Austin called Tane Hodison, Mike McConville. These guys are all in the 1460 range right now. Absolutely blistering pace out here on the racetrack.
Working lap number 207. Blistering fast is definitely one way to put it, and they're running closer than ever. We're going to go on board here with Noah Hamilton right now as we drop down. Check out all of what Noah Hamilton has to contend with right now. He's got Paul Hill on the low side. He's got Mikey Mack just in front of him. Now he sees Matt Mackin scraping by in front of him. He's got to be able to get around Mackin. It's going to hold him up. He's able to sling it down. I mean, this is like rush hour on the Schuylkill Expressway on a Monday morning.
I mean, take everything that happens at Talladega and then just, fast forward at times 8, and that's pretty much what you have happening here at Bristol right now. It's still close quarters racing. It's high octane. It's all-out warfare out here on the racetrack. So many different things these drivers having to pay attention to. You got cars running the middle. You got cars on the high side, running the bottom. It is just all out right now as we go on board with Seabiscuit. Chris Davis, another beast mode performance driver, as he's going up against Eric Popino for that 13th place position.
The Koshkonong, Missouri native now holding on to the low side of Eric Popino in the Liberty.Live Church number 17. He's now got a little bit of room for clear sailing as he's able to use more of that racetrack up. He's going to start to be able to use all of that racetrack, take that momentum and the energy that's building up here in the 74 machine, and close in on Ron Fitting. And it looks like he is all but a homing missile looking to the rear bumper of the 3.
Yeah, but Ron Fitting knows how to get around this racetrack as well. We've seen some great pace out of that 3 machine just out the front bumper cam as we continue to ride on board with Chris Davis. And you can see how when these drivers have that real estate to work with, Dave, how that car naturally wants to come up the racetrack there on corner exit. That's the fastest way around here. Unfortunately, that also has been the other part, is what spelled disaster out here on the racetrack as well when we've had a couple cars collide in that same retrospect.
Well, and that's part of what makes this place special. I mean, this takes the best of everything from our sport. It takes the size, of the field itself. It takes the concrete. It has the half mile. It brings us back to our roots on the short track circuits here in the southeast of the United States, and it combines all of them into one beautiful soup. And right now, as we go soup to nuts, it looks like the 74 did just like I said he was gonna. Came right after the 3. Now he hits to the low side of the 71 of Keith Long. 3, 4, 5 playoff drivers all in a row, and they are out here vying for position in the closing laps of stage number 2.
Closing laps of stage number 2 as it's a playoff sandwich right here on the racetrack. And the 10th caution is now in the air as we are covering this action here on that 13th place position. Dave, any indication of what went wrong?
Looking, and I think this is going to have to do with Tanner Marty as we pull it up. Here's Tanner Marty, just ahead of the 84 of Logan Giesbrecht, and Marty just got loose and pirouetted helplessly in front of the 33, and that's Ken Ron.
Really fortunate there. Not a lot of traffic somehow behind the 29 as he just spiraled down the racetrack. No one else caught a piece of the action there, and doesn't look like too much damage sustained to Marty's ZL1 Camaro. Slowing things back down, McConville continues to have a strong run here in that 7th place position. Keep your eye on that 18 machine, though. Bobby Anderson in that Mustang. Remember, he's on that alternate strategy. We talked to him top of the broadcast. He is now inside the top 10. In fact, timing and scoring now shows him in that 5th place position as we now officially work in lap 221 of the scheduled 500. And as Dave mentioned earlier, the end of stage 2 just around the corner.
221 laps in the books, and here we are with Noah Hamilton, our race leader. And Matt, I think that we've started to see, although that we have stage racing, we also see segments within those stages. I mean, we've got right now the Noah Hamilton show. We've already had the Sean Rogers show, the Matt Cox. I just think that it's interesting that we don't have one dedicated person running away with this piece. I mean, we've actually seen 4 different races in one.
That's a great point, and I think a lot has to do with, 1, how these cautions have came out over the course of this race, and 2, a lot of different strategies being deployed here tonight. And, other part of that, sure, it's all about performance. You got to have a good race car underneath you as the Bears goes up there and pokes Rogers in the 4,400 caution. Love the little friendly gesture there. And, but to your point, no one driver has really asserted their dominance here, and that's something we're just going to like you guys at home, hang on for the ride up here in the booth and figure it out as this race plays out.
And this race playing out right now at lap 222, or for those of us that are from Berks County, Pennsylvania originally, that's Route 222. That's up there in Pennsylvania Dutch country. It runs all the way from Allentown to Lancaster. In case you needed a quick run from Allentown to Lancaster, maybe to pick up some milk, pastries. I do like a good pastry.
And a Dutch oven. Got it. Thank you.
Yes. In fact, a good Dutch oven is hard to find. But if you go to Chipotle, I can show you how to do it. You didn't mean that Dutch oven, did you?
Oh, God. Trying to catch my breath here as the green flag back in the air. And the 45 Code Red machine fires off out of a cannon once again. Rogers this time eats hard on the bottom, aborts the high side, at least on the restart. Now he sends it back up to the top, but Paul Hill had that spot covered. However, he's going to have to check it up, and that's going to build that battle side by side for third as Rogers now closes down on Hamilton.
I wonder if the Dutch oven is why I'm no longer married. Might have been my fault. One too many nights with the Dutch oven.
Oh, the 45 kind of stewed himself into the wall there. A little scrape on the 45 side of the 45.
Oven, stew. We're hitting all the plays. Take a look at Alex Princeton right now. This man is what we would call in traffic up to his eyeballs. I mean, he's got two in front of him, two behind him, and he has no place to go but to hold on for dear life. And if there's anybody that I'm going to trust being in a three-wide situation with, it's going to be Princeton and Mikey Mack. I mean, Listen, my man out of South Jersey can get some stuff done.
Yeah, he certainly can, as he's got that one machine reeling on the high side of the racetrack. Alex Princeton, though, that car has really come to life, especially with that extra facelift on the front of that Camaro. He's going to poke his nose. Oh, Ron Fitting almost got threaded. Big time moment there for the Grease Monkey machine. But as I was saying, this battle right here really heating up, and Alex Princeton, with that damage to the front of that ZL1 Camaro, really seems to have helped the turn in on that race car. As you can see, that car just shoots down to the bottom of the racetrack, able to rip the center and really get on the loud pedal. Now, I know some of these guys may be a little bit faster working that higher side of the racetrack, but that's going to come at the premium of that right rear tire, or at least that's how it was during my time on the race car this week. Is look at this battle here heating up between Austin Call and the Missouri man Chris Davis as we go on board, looking out the rear bumper cam. Call's going to send it in, eating on the bottom as they're side by side.
Side by side they go, and right now it looks like Davis is going to be able to hold off Paul Hill and Austin Call. Wow, that's a hard one. Austin Call, Paul Hill. I don't know who Austin is or why he needs to call Paul Hill, but here we go into turn number one. Looks like all of a sudden he's going to hurl it down here underneath the 74. The Koshkonong, Missouri native of Chris Davis. He's trying to hold that high line, but he just doesn't have enough right now. He may be wise to let the 40 go for the time being, because if you try to hold him down there for too long, you run the risk of having the 40 snap loose, as we're lap 236, 15 to go and under, caution number 11, the 9th for cause.
And that might not be a bad thing for the 74 and the 40, because just as you were talking about that race car starting to get loose off the bottom, we've seen it get swirly. Oh, the 71 pointed in the wrong direction, so clearly you would think he had to be a part of the altercation, referring to Keith Long, who's currently being scored in that 18th place position. Things back down here once again. Want to thank everyone for hanging on with us here for the ride right on Sim Racing Media, the official place, the only place you're going to catch the Stacy Strong Cup Series competition each and every night right here in prime time. And you're thinking about joining the family, it's simple. Smash the like button, ring the bell, Come home now to 6 days of high-flying, high-octane racing action right here on your eSIM Racing or Broadcast Sim Racing leader, Sim Racing Media. As the 45 is going to come down pit road while Sean Rogers is going to stay out on the racetrack. That's going to give him the lead back as he was in a hot and furious battle just before that yellow flag flew, Dave.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting restart because Hamilton just came down pit road as well. So it's going to be Rogers, Cox, Anderson, Davis, Call, Hill, Hodison, McConville, and Papineau. Now, Chris Claude also came down pit road. And there he is. He's going to get a little bit more repair done to the 10. Oh, I feel for Chris because there's a lot of work that's probably got to get done to the 10, but he just doesn't have the time.
It's getting to chip at it, little bits here and there. And, like you mentioned earlier, this place, not the longest to get around. And you have seconds literally to get a little bit of work done on that race car. And it really feels like an eternity at times. But nonetheless, he is putting the effort in to get that TRD-powered Camry better. Is those lights still on the race car? And Rogers having a little fun playing games with the pace car. In fact, Rogers is the pace car.
I mean, he was just in the pace car, around the pace car.
Have you ever been in the pace car?
In real life or here?
Here at iRacing.
Yeah. Usually when I'm down a lap and I'm trying to wait for it to come back.
Well, the interior inside that thing is quite bland.
Do you blame them? All you have to do is go out there, do a couple of laps, get back down on the pit road. I think the pace cars actually led more laps than anybody else tonight.
But that's for sure. Or as he keeps that yellow flag fisted up in the air there.
Sean Rogers, Matt Cox, Chris Davis, Bobby Anderson, and Paul Hill, they're going to be your restarting top 5 as we get ready to rock and roll. It's going to be 10 to go here in stage number 2. We're finally working our way towards stage 3 as Sean Rockin' Rogers going to have control of the high side. Amanda Price in the YouTube.com live chat says, go, 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 and off we are.
Rogers winds up the missile there, and he lets it fire. Oh, my God. Did you see that? What did the 32? Not to steal any thunder from Sean Rogers, but was that just my eyes playing tricks with me? Or does it look like he had a F-14 Tomcat strapped to the roof of that 32 because he came just ripping on the bottom? Like he had almost like the Hail Malin at Martinsville is now. Beast Mode Performance runs 1-2 as Rogers continues to carry the torch. But that 32 machines of Matty Cox, he wants the lead, and he is challenging Rogers for it right now. They just made contact.
And there they are, side by side, all but fender to fender coming out of turn 2 down the backstretch, now getting back into line is Matt Cox.
Dave, was that just me, or did the 32 just carry a ton of speed through that quarter on the restart? It was like he shot out of a cannon.
Shot out of a cannon is an understatement as we take a look to Bobby Anderson. Now, Anderson here in the M&M's machine, he's going to ride along right here as we now drop down here into Matt Mackin, who's down several laps. Just because my fingers did what fingers do sometimes and did what they wanted without me telling them. Here we are to Bobby Anderson out of Mansfield. He's going to be just behind Cox and Rogers, and right now he's hoping that the two of them can be distracted with one another just long enough to try to slide up here. Whoa, baby. All of a sudden, the 18's going to shove it right under Cox.
He's going to send it right in the business end of the 32. You mentioned getting distracted. Well, that's one way to do it when you dial up the chrome horn, Dave.
2 to go here in stage number 2, and as we're on the final lap of stage 2, it looks like it's going to be a barn burner between Matt Cox and Sean Rogers. Rogers looking for those stage points to nestle himself.
Bobby Anderson just gave the
my
business
God.
to the 32 again.
Here they come at the line, and it's Sean Rogers with the stage 2 win.
By a half a car, maybe less. But nonetheless, beast mode has gone feast mode here at Bristol. Rogers, Cox, and then you had Anderson giving all the business to the Bears, trying to double doink them out there on the racetrack. And that was only for the second stage. What's it going to be like coming to the checkered flag? Is there still beating and banging?
This has been one of the wildest. This has been one of the wildest finishes to a stage in I cannot tell you how long, and I have called tens of thousands of laps. Speaking of wild, here's the Allen experience. Hey, Dave and Matt, fresh back from Knoxville, Iowa, and you thought there was only a Knoxville in Tennessee. He was up there at the old dirt track over the weekend, and he has now become quite the talented photographer. Believe me, he belongs behind the camera, not in front of it.
He's done some incredible work behind the lens, as you just mentioned. You know, doing all the things that he possibly can. You know, drinking the SRM Kool-Aid. In fact, he puts a, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here, Dave? He's got a new world order as far as that goes. I mean, he just works so hard behind the scenes. Everything he does to help sim racing media. Cannot say enough good things about Alan Bergen. Glad he made it back home safely, but as we monitor now, beast mode performance driver Sean Rockin' Rogers on pit road. You see the service getting done to his race car. Those Dr. Field come up as we're going to now talk to the stage 2 winner up here in the broadcast booth. Sean Rogers, Matt and Dave up top. You got a copy there, brother?
Yeah, I got you guys. How you guys doing?
Man, you tell me. I mean, I'll tell you what, beast mode has gone feast mode out there with yourself, Matt Cox. I see you guys fist bumping each other. Talk to me about what's going on the racetrack right now, man.
Definitely got a fast car. Teammate Matt Cox obviously has a fast car as well. I just got a speeding. I don't know if you guys are watching me. Let everybody by, so that's fantastic. But yeah, no, it was a fun stage. Definitely have a good car. Definitely good to get that stage point that I can carry on into the next rounds.
Well, first and foremost, if that's my fault for pulling you up here prematurely, I do apologize for that.
Nope, not at all. I did that before you guys pulled me up.
All right, so my heart almost sank up here at the broadcast booth.
No.
Obviously, you got a fast 44 ZL1 Mustang there. You're going to have a little work cut out for you now. What is it going to take to make sure that 44 is in victory lane when all is said here and done, man?
I definitely have the speed. I know that. It's just going to take patience getting through the fields. I don't need to be back up there, right away. So just kind of patiently pick my way through and don't get in one of these many wrecks that apparently we're having tonight.
Yeah, certainly right now it's been mayhem out there on the racetrack. However, that's one of the traits, one of the things you do best out there. You sniff those things out and you know how to drive through them. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Sean Rockin' Rogers, stage 2 winner. Him and that iRacing, very beautiful paint scheme on that race car tonight. Gonna look to throw some hay as he climbs back up through the field. And you know he wants to be there at the end of this thing. We'll let you go back to your team, Sean. Thanks for joining us up here in the booth. Dave, as that green flag goes back in the air here at Bristol.
Green flag in the air back at Bristol. We'll get Sean back up there. As, of course, I was clipping that. I appreciate the good interview. That way we can get it online just as fast as we can. But 258 laps in the books, just fewer than 250 to go. Wow, I wish it was fewer than 100 to go. As we take a look here at Noah Hamilton, he's our race winner. He was our pole sitter. And my goodness, he just laid fast time down at 14:34.
Yeah, we're getting on the skinny side now of the 14-second bracket. I mean, my jaw will literally slam the floor if I see someone clip off a 13.99 or a 13.98. not possible for these guys. We've seen it do it before. But I'll tell you what, when that Code Red machine gets out in clean air, and you wouldn't think of Bristol so much being a short track and all, having a lot of turbulent, dirty air, but when that 45 is out in front, that car is an absolute laser. Caution out there on the racetrack, just as I was talking about Noah Hamilton as he was getting gone. Going back to the SRM instant replay here. Return to the Mac in the 1 machine. Something's going to pop off. Oh, he's just going to give it too much loud pedal off the corner. And around, he's going to nose it into the fence. Dave, he keeps that car locked down, does not bring it back up onto the racetrack until all is clear. And as we're into the 13th caution here for incident, we're going to step aside, pay some bills, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with all the coverage here from Bristol on SRM.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
So hi, my name's Christy. I am a wife, a mother of 3 children. I am a sister and an aunt of lots of nieces and nephews, and I'm also a substitute teacher. So my everyday life changed by going to appointments, a lot of appointments, a lot of scans. During the treatment, my body just got weaker, so I wasn't as active with my children and with my husband. So I was laying on the couch a lot more. I'm an active person, and so that just didn't sit well with me, but that's how it changed. My body was just weaker, and I couldn't do the things that I used to do. So there was a lady in where I live from a local church who had heard that I had breast cancer, and she sent me a letter just reaching out for support, and she actually said that she's the one that told me about Trisha's Hope and that I should contact them, so I did. So specifically, I wasn't able to really work during my treatment or anything like that, so the grant that I was able to get helped me pay my bills, provide gas money. I was driving to and from treatments, and so it helped a lot with bills and everything. I would just say I am so grateful for Trisha's Hope and for all the people that have donated, because I don't know what I would have done without them.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Race fans, welcome back to Sim Racing Media here from the last great Coliseum, Bristol, Tennessee, the place. Working lap 291 now, the scheduled 500 is the 14th caution flag in the air, and pit road becomes the hottest place here in Bristol, Tennessee. Anderson leads the charge. There he is in that 18 M&M's Dark Horse Mustang. And Matty Cox, I'll tell you what, Dave, he has been furious out on the racetrack and just as ferocious with those buns of honey on pit road.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Oh, wow. A little bit of net code there. That's no bueno.
You know, I feel so bad at times for Austin Call in this league. Such a great driver. He is good behind the wheel. Just has a lot of bad luck here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series, and running a great race, and Netcoat decides to bite that 40 Aflac machine. Reason we're under caution here. A little tasty cake action. Also have those tasty buns, honey buns as well, Dave.
My man.
All a part of the great treats by that Tasty Cakes brand. Apparently only in Pennsylvania and here now in Miami.
Well, it will. Well, I mean, down there in Port St. Lucie, if you have a Wawa, you can go there and you can do what I do. You can go grab yourself. Listen, I'm telling you right now, they've got a great selection over there. Now, I prefer the traditional honey bun, but you know, if you want to add a little bit of cream on top of that bad boy, they have the iced honey bun. It's delicious. My usual Wawa stop routine is, you know, a coffee and an apple fritter. You gotta eat your apple fritter nice and early in the morning, but then in the afternoon, it'll pick me up.
A little pick me up, and speaking of a pick me up, that's exactly what that Tasty Cakes machine's doing. He's getting some fresh Goodyear Eagles there on pit road. And Dave, I remember your instruction, and I'm telling you, we have plenty of Wawas in the Port St. Lucie area. No Tasty Cakes on the shelves.
They are there. I swear to you, you'll find it's almost like Edamons. They're at the end of your grocer's bakery aisle. You got to
give it a more thorough sweep next time,
buddy. I'm telling you, I'm coming down there in a couple of weeks. I will take pictures and send them to you.
I believe you that they're in Miami, but
look, I was introducing. You have to understand, folks, that SRM is going to be taking a little bit of a break from October 22nd. Through the 28th. We'll be back for Monday Night NASCAR that week on the 28th because, you know, I'm a glutton for punishment. Let's drink for an entire week and then head on into the broadcast booth on Monday night because why not?
What could possibly go wrong?
Right. It'll be fine. It's fine. Don't worry. But last year, because I'm the only person from the Northeast that went to Miami, as soon as we saw Wawa, I was like, well, I'm set. I don't even need to go out for coffee anywhere fancy. We got it right up the street here. The thing is, we've got folks from Iowa, Michigan, Wyoming. Nobody knows the deal, okay? It's kind of like you folks that have Buc-ee's or something to that effect. You know, so I walked in, and I'm in and out. And, of course, down south, the pace is a lot slower. You know, I'm used to walking in, you punch your sandwich order into the machine, you grab your coffee, you get your tasty cake, you head over to the register. By the time you're at the register, they're done making your sandwich. Not in Florida. They don't understand it.
Nah, that part is a little on the sluggish side. You're absolutely right. However, they are getting better with it. They are trying. You can see the signs, the marketing, what am I looking for here? Help me out, Dave. But they're encouraging, trying to let people know, hey, we're trying to make it better. We're trying to be faster, make it greater, all a part of your morning routine. They're trying to get the pace up down here to match that up in the Northeast from where you're from. Speaking of pace, Bobby Anderson leading the place. 14.40 last time. Second fastest car out there on the field. Only person quicker than him that lap, that car in that second place position, the Bears, as you like to put it, Matty Cox, Dave.
Cox out here like a homing missile as he's looking to the inside now of Bobby Anderson. Cox looking for a place to slide in underneath as he's got himself all wound up to crazy here. Less than 0.2 of a second now as he chases down Bobby Anderson. We're going to swap right back here. We've got a hot and heavy battle between Giesbrecht and the 44 of Sean Rogers. As this is Mr. Rogers' neighborhood for the time being, we can take a peek over here at the YouTube.com live chat. We know that Amanda Price is in here and checking in on him all the time. And the Allen Experience saying that Tasty Cake cupcakes are fire. He's not. Whoa, easy there, big fella.
That was also another type of fire that we don't want right now.
And it's almost like just in the nick of time, as Rocky and Bullwinkle would say, there is the Tide Ride with that stain pen just behind it. Good Lord. The Allen Experience has Quick Trip, and I've never been into a Quick Trip because I respect my life too much. Before the end of the season, though, I will drink a Budweiser because it's part of our deal.
Just pardon my language. This Tide Ride almost absolutely yacked the 44 there. In fact, he just loosened him up. That 66
Good Lord.
is trying to just... It looked like he was trying to truck the 44. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just some hard, intense racing on the racetrack. But the 44 just used like 3 of his 9 lives there tonight in a matter of a couple laps, racing the Tide Ride. And now it's not over. He's still in the Inferno because now he's back to deal with Giesbrecht on the high side, and then his teammates, Chris Davis, is flying on that top shelf as well, Dave. I mean, Rogers is exactly where he doesn't want to be right now. It is not a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
No, but he's still climbing his way back up here toward the top 10. He's got Eric Papineau next on the menu as he's ready to strap a hairnet on and start serving lunch here to the Liberty.Live Church number 17 Chevrolet Camaro. As now they hurl it here into turn number 3. They get ready to roll it back out here on lap 312. Dave Regal and, of course, Matt Mettler with you here. We are the voice of Sunday Night NASCAR. You can hang out with me on Monday and Tuesday, of course, this week as the Truck Series has returned. The Xfinity Series tomorrow night. All 3 going to be right here. You know what? I shouldn't even say that. I know that the Xfinity is going to be here. Let's check the schedule because I think I might have just inserted my foot directly into my mouth. Is the Truck Series here tomorrow? Yes or no? Yes, it is. Triple header.
And so you're going to have your RV parked here virtually for most of the week, Dave.
Yeah, if I had an RV, it would definitely be parked here because once you get in, you can't get back out.
No, it's literally impossible. In fact, it's quite the event watching these car haulers literally jump into the Coliseum. And getting out of here is quite an event. They get a couple tires literally off the ground on those 18-wheelers, and it's quite an event welcoming them into the stadium. And then when they do leave the racetrack after the festivities are completed, now working week 317 of the scheduled 500. Matt Cox continues now to drive away from Ron Fitting, who slipped into second place. And just as I say that, that yellow flag shines its nasty face again. Go back to the SRM instant replay here. Going to take a peek what happened to Randall Watkins, Mr. 305 worldwide. Everything looks all fine and dandy. Oh, no! Bobby Anderson just got a 1-2 whack-a-mole. As Watkins had nowhere to go.
God.
He just served up breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Listen, that was vicious. Let's take a look at this from the nose. He's already had a rough night, but this did not help. Right behind, fall in love with... Oh! It's almost like they just pulled the rag away from his face. It was like he was a hostage.
That was like getting picked by Shaquille O'Neal back in the 90s.
He just showed up. Well, that's not going to feel good for Randall.
Or
I
Anderson.
don't know if I've told you, but I am going to get a chance to catch up with Randall as we'll be down there, as we were talking a little bit ago about going to Miami. Sim Racing Media, of course, will be taking that week off for the Miami Homestead race, and I'm going to get a chance to see Randall Watkins face-to-face in person. Didn't get a chance last year, but this year we're going to make it happen. He, of course, retired from the Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue Department off of Engine 3, which the coincidence there is that our housemate in my home department in Reading is Engine 3. Of course, I'm a member of Ladder 1. So Ladder 1 and Engine 3 have run out of the same station for 65 years. So it's kind of fun to know that he came off of Engine 3 in Miami.
Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of number 3, look who's leading this race. The number 3 Grease Monkey Machine, Ron Fitting, your leader here under caution. How about Brother Ron having a great run here tonight here at Bristol? Now that ZL1 Camaro is going to have a chance to glisten in the clean air at the front of this field. Let's see what type of pace Ron Fitting has underneath the hood of that race car. Payne Hoddison's going to restart there at P2. Sean Rockin' Rogers, who was literally in the trenches moments ago, he's going to restart P3. Noah Hamilton fourth. Chris Custer is going to round out the top 5. Pretty sure he's the biggest mover of the race thus far, up 24 positions. Logan Giesbrecht in the 84 machine, he's going to restart 6th. Well, Matt L. Cox occupies that 7th place position. Heath Long's holding it down in 8th. Well, Carvaja Hot Dog Holt keeping it real in 9th. And Seabiscuit, a.k.a. Chris Davis, or I should say Chris Davis, a.k.a. Seabiscuit, rounds out the top 10 as they currently run right now. I want to thank everyone for joining us here live on SRM. You want to get notified each and every time the Stacy Strong Cup Series goes live here in prime time. It's simple. Smash the like button, ring the bell, join the SRM Racing family, and join us each and every time we go live in prime time. As that pace car pulls off the racing surface, that means we're getting ready to go back to the boogie side of things here at Bristol, and Ron Fitting lets it rip. That Mustang really fired off there on that restart, Dave.
Oh, wow. Ron Fitting just had what had to have been a hardware hiccup. Good God. As now he's got to hold off Noah Hamilton. They go drag racing down the front stretch and into turn number 1. Noah Hamilton absolutely being able to, wash up the racetrack now. A little bit too close to Ron Fitting. And now leads the 93 of Tane Hoddison. As 1, 2, 3, they go Fitting, Hamilton, and Hoddison.
Fitting, Hamilton, and Hoddison, and I got to apologize to Rod for invoking the broadcaster's curse. Hopefully that whack to the wall didn't take all the good out of that number 3. However, he's able to hold off that hard-charging Hamilton, but for how long, Dave?
I think if he can recover from that and still hold Hamilton off, we just saw exactly what that car is made of.
Yeah, stout driver behind the wheel, and you got to think there he just gave it a little too much pepper there on the restart and lost some of that rear bite, went up there, slapped the wall, but he's going to keep on trucking. Now the Mountain Dew Code Red machine's going to get up there and grind it off the passenger side of the race car with Sean Rogers in close proximity. Eric Popino making some noise there in the 8th place position as he gets around Chris Davis, who is fighting Logan Giesbrecht for 8th.
Taking a look here at Eric Popino just behind Chris Custer in the 66. The Tide Ride right now doing his very best now to work underneath of Kavaja Holt. Now Kavaja Holt in the Tricia's Hope 00. He's currently running in 6th position, having a great night so far. It's been a long time since he's worked in this neck of the woods, this deep into the top 10. But Kavaja right now showing everything that he's made of, as of course his Jedi Master, of course, was Barrett Coffey out of Prim Springs, Tennessee, and spent a lot of time in this league with Kavaja. But my goodness, you know, sometimes you look at these races, and I can only think to myself, it's incredible what they're able to do with the graphics package on iRacing.
Yeah, it is. Well, first of all, I want to make sure you're okay. It sounded like you had your face buried in a honey bun there. So, just want to make sure. Okay, so you're good. You always got to check on the broadcast partner first and foremost. Anytime you hear choking, coughing, it's always a good thing to ask the question. But to your point about the graphic side of things, Kavaja Holt just got basically forced up there into the wall, as he is trying to do everything in his power to get around that 45 of Hamilton. Almost a 3-wide situation there. David, you're talking about the graphics here on iRacing. You know, you think back to when I was a kid growing up. I mean, I was just a little 16-bit. That was the thing. Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. Then you had Sega 32X. And to think where we are now, it's almost like every time, iRacing does an update, the better the GPUs get, it's like real life racing. I can't tell you how many people that had never watched iRacing before or a broadcast, their first, the first thing they say is, Matt, oh my God, that looks like it's real life. And that's really a testament to all the developers and everyone behind the scenes at iRacing for the fantastic job that they do.
Well, and not only that, but, the cars may be simulated, the tracks may be simulated, but the broadcasters are real, the competition is real, and the fun is real. I mean, listen, what these guys do every week, and furthermore, it's embarrassing that they pay us to do this because, good Lord, they're not really there. The fact that they pay us to do this is just this side of a friggin' miracle. Besides, who else am I going to sit with on a Sunday night?
I know. How to get paired up with you?
Well, literally somebody had to die.
Someone had to do it, right? Hey.
There I was, I wanted to work with you so bad that I pushed Tony that one last bit.
Oh,
he would love that. He would love every moment of that.
Yes, he would. The only time I ever got worried with Tony is that one time, I think, what do we have, 23 or 24 cautions per incident, and he made probably one of the most famous, or said one of his most famous lines, was the 45 gets into the wall up there. I'm not going to repeat it, but if you really wanted to get Tony fired up, just throw him on a roll of caution flags for about an hour and 45 minutes. Sit back, just mute the mic, and just let him roll.
It's just been told to me, this just into the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth, I know where I could be spending my Sunday nights. And quite frankly, I would much rather have my hands full of a honey bun than be here in the broadcast booth. I mean, I love you, but I don't love you that much, pal.
You could do both.
I do not think so. No, I would have no. I would have to be very, very determined to keep my attention.
Well, hey.
And now it just sounds like a better offer. I'm gonna leave this on autopilot, and I'll see you later.
All right. Well, hey, I'll take one for the team. 3 wide. Is it's okay to 3-way out here on the racetrack, at least momentarily. Eric Popino going up against the 6 there of Paul Hill, the Debt Slayer machine. In fact, he was trying to knock one there almost out of Sean Rockin' Rogers as they came awful close to making contact there once again. And Rogers almost came down on Hill. And again, almost a very similar situation that we seen out there earlier when Matt Mackin actually made contact. Multiple race cars here, all fighting, occupying a very tight piece of real estate on this racetrack. And they're all attacking this race in different lines, and sometimes they are just mere centimeters from each other coming off the corner. Is Chris Davis there now going to get the spot on the high side of the racetrack? Rogers trying to punch through the core of the storm here, and now does, as the 17 and 74 are now behind him. He gets into the wall. That's going to put him right back into the Hornet's nest, and we're 3 wide at the line.
Sweet Jesus on a rocket-powered pogo stick. We have a disaster getting ready to form here as we look on from from Eric Popino and Chad Sanner. Now, Sanner out of Smithfield, PA, he's trying to hold the high side over top of Popino. He's got the 44 of Sean Rogers on the recovery drive, currently running in 5th position. That's where he qualified, but he's working his way back up here to the lead. And these guys are not going to be giving up any kind of real estate, as we are just fewer than 150 to go.
Yeah, and remember, that may seem like a long time if you're looking at the scoring tower. However, remember, folks, less than 15 seconds around here till these laps will be over before you know it. And you can start to see the intensity, the urgency escalating out there on the racetrack. Sean Rogers, no, that was a big, costly moment for him right there as he cleared the eye of the storm. That Camaro, for whatever reason, just did not want to put the power down. Came up, caught a piece of the fence just as it did right there again. So perhaps Rogers is going to make an adjustment on that race car. Next opportunity comes down pit road. But while all this heavy racing's going on, we've been covering right here, Dave, you know, Chad Sanner is now up to that 5th place position in that 94 machine, your buddy from Pennsylvania.
We have quite the Pennsylvania contingent here tonight as Matt Cox runs here in the 36 machine atop the pile, the 32, the 36, whatever you want to call it. As now he puts Chris Claude and Chris Custer each down a lap. He got those two wholesale. You know, and although that what we do here is a simulation, what's not a simulation is every Monday through Friday, actually Monday through Saturday, yours truly, the voice of the news up in the Pocono Mountains on Magic 105.5 FM, WMGH. And let me tell you, we have some bangers of a story this week.
Thought it was 105.5 the Beaver. At least that's what it is
No,
on the satellite side of things.
No, the Beaver is different. That's June and Ward Cleaver, and sometimes Ward's a little hard on the Beaver.
And Miss Cleaver, I see what you did there, Dave.
See what I did there?
See what you did there, Mr. 8 Mile. But no, I really
can tune in. You can tune in to 105.5 WMGH. You can download our app, the Magic 105.5 app, on your app store, whether it's Google Play or iPhone. And quite frankly, if you're on Google Play, we shouldn't even be friends. As soon as I go to text somebody, you know, like if I have a contractor, somebody that I've not spoken with before, and I see that bubble turn green, I immediately judge him.
Well, that bubble just turned yellow here on the sim side of things, unfortunately. So that now.
Oh, no.
You know where I'm going with this, unfortunately.
Oh, here we go.
Moment of
silence. They went 3 wide. I'm holding my breath. Oh, God. Sean's pissed.
He's got to be hot. Hotter than a Keebler elf that just ate a flaming Cheeto.
Angrier than a Keebler elf getting demoted to Fudge Packer is what he is.
I figured I'd change it up a little bit tonight, but thanks for
these people. No, the people paid for this.
Yeah, people paid for this. That's right. Thanks for keeping it OG there, buddy. The good news, though, granted, he went for a little bit of a jawing ride there across the racetrack. Not a lot of damage to Sean Rogers' Camaro. Kind of backed it in flush. That car should be okay. However, now working lap 364. Matt Cox going to abandon the lead here to send it down pit lane. Matt Mackin looks like he's going to get one of his laps back, as he is ahead of Paul Hill at least. Oh, I take that back. Matt Mackin's coming down pit road. Paul Hill, Ron Fitting. See Sean Rogers there as well. This a good thing, you think, for Sean Rogers? Give him a chance to cool his jets, refocus, just kind of get your bearing right after that incident out there on the racetrack, Dave?
I don't think after having the race that he has run that there is anything good that we would ever hear from him right now.
Well, I'm trying
to... I don't think there's any cooling of his jets. Nels on Wheels says, what happened to Bobby Anderson? You showed him getting run into, but that was the start of the accident. It is what it is now. And the Rabbi Ben Garrity pops in and says, sorry he can't be there tonight. He'll be back tomorrow. It's soccer season. You chose soccer over NASCAR?
Well, hey, regardless of his sporting preference, I mean, that's the dedication that these drivers have to this series. If they're not out there in competition, they're still showing up into the YouTube live chat, checking on things. I mean, that's how dedicated and how fierce this competition is throughout the Stacy Strong Cup Series. And quite frankly, one of the things that I love about it, Dave.
I mean, I get it and all, but yeesh. I don't know. Unless there was, some type of maybe the fair gender element to it, I don't think I'd be going to a hockey game, or not hockey, soccer instead of NASCAR. I mean, hell, I'd abandon you for a Klondike bar.
Well, that's okay. I expect you to do that.
Matt Cox takes the green flag, and we're back underway. He gets a jump over top of Chris Davis and Alex Princeton, who now run 2-3 behind him. They are side by side behind that, and everybody's scrambling for position as we're just under 140 laps to go.
Yeah, 369 being written in the history books this time around. Dub Bears continues to control this race here. Chris Davis, high as he's been on the scoring pylon all race long, as he's going to occupy that second place position. Noah Hamilton there in the 45 ride. That Mountain Dew machine, when he gets that Toyota out in front in that clean air, that's where that car really seems to shine. But Paul Hill and that Dead Slayer machine, he probably knows that, and he is trying to keep him pinned back there right now as he currently holds on to that 7th place position.
7th place now for Paul Hill as Tane Hodison and Chris Claude are the last two cars on the lead lap. 11 left, and it's just getting scary. I mean, if we go green for a long period of time, and we've had some really good green flag runs, I mean, we're looking at maybe 7 left, max, give or take.
That's a great point there, Dave. And, right now, it's kind of, this racetrack kind of has the vibe right now that we're getting ready to go for a green flag stint here. You can see how the gapping, the spacing here between the front two cars, between Cox, Davis. Princeton, want to shout him out. He has now got that 19 machine up into that 3rd place spot. But right now, Matty Cox just has that car on cruise control right now. He has a oh my God, can't speak here for the moment. Pardon me. Has his teammate behind him, Chris Davis, beast mode performance driver there in 2nd. No immediate pressure from him. And because we just went back to the green flag side of things, no lap traffic, at least for right now. And just as I say that, we have that yellow flag, that little Frit, showing its ugly face on the racetrack again. As I thought for sure we were going for a green flag rip.
Well, listen, Barney up there in the flag stand knows that he can't fold that yellow flag just yet. I mean, listen, he's got all the rest of the laundry folded, but the yellow flag, that's not going away anytime soon. He keeps that right there in a holster.
It's almost like Barney knows. See if any takers come down pit road this time. Most of these drivers, again, last pitted on lap 364. In fact, first in 365, first driver down lap 365, Kavaja Holt there in that 7th place position. Tane Hodison in P10, last down pit road on lap 291. So I would be surprised if he stays out, as that's a good amount of time to be out there on those Dr. Feelgoods. In fact, Tane Hodison now in on pit road along with Chris Claude, who continues, Dave, to be on the lead lap and just outside the top 10 in that 11th place position.
Cox, Davis, Princeton, Papineau, Hill, Hamilton, Holt, Saner, Fitting, Long, that's your top 10. We see him over here, just 3 non-playoff drivers in your top 10. And, you know, Matt, I think that's one of the things that that we need to pay closest attention to. Some of these non-playoff drivers are still here just trying to make a statement, and it's almost like a precursor to what we're going to see next year. We've seen that year after year in this league, and, you know, although that we still have to go to the beginning of November, some of these guys are already looking forward to Daytona.
Hey, you know what? Just because you're not in the playoffs, in fact, let me rephrase that. Not being in the playoffs, that can be the catalyst, the fire underneath the driver's seat to propel you to go out there and get a win during playoff season, which is right now, and you're right. I mean, hey, it's still racing. Just because you're not in it for the championship doesn't mean you don't have the opportunity, just like every other playoff driver, to go out there and get a win. And when it's in the Stacy Strong Cup Series, I'll tell you what, a win is a win is a win. And look for that momentum, as Dave mentioned, to carry you through to Daytona is next season, right around the corner. I shouldn't say that as they take a little bit of a break here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series, but nonetheless, you can certainly carry that momentum well into Speed Weeks next year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the offseason is only, a couple of months long, but the entire time, most of these drivers are kind of like mad scientists. They're trying to put their plan together, and some of them already have their eyes on races well into April.
A lot of these teams, I know it's, some people call it a video game. I call it a real-life simulation. Why? Because, as you mentioned, just like real teams in the real world, some of these guys, they're already planning. Past Daytona, they're thinking about places like Las Vegas, some of the mile-and-a-half racetracks. What can they do to improve upon their speed in this season? And you're absolutely right, Dave. I couldn't say it better myself. That pace car is going to pull off. Green flag going to go back in the air here as Barty waving the yak. Green flag in the air once again here from Bristol Motor Speedway. Matt Cox, Chris Davis, Eric Popino, Alex Pridson, and the Dent Slayer man, Paul Hill, round out your top 5.
Taking a look back here at Tane Hodison in the 93. Right now, he's probably one of the safer drivers out here. He's only got the 94 of Chad Saner below him. And if you're going to have somebody alongside of you like that, it better be Saner. Oh, as he rubs the wall. I mean, Saner's one of those drivers where we see him toiling week after week, year after year, in my case, because I've known him for so long. And, at this point, as a playoff driver, he's finally ready to start making some hay and make a statement. I mean, he's battled his way up here and is now running plus 8 for Kavaja Holt, down 3 for Saner, but plus 13. Biggest movers of the race right now are running 2, 3, and 4. Chris Davis, Eric Popino, and Eric Princeton up 22, 20, and 23 spots.
Yeah, Alex Princeton there in that 19 machine having a great run here tonight. Kind of a short track ace, if you ask me, and he is showing up here big time tonight in Bristol. And remember, that 19 machine has some damage on it as we focus on this big time battle here with Tane Hodison, Bad Chad Saner in the 94, and one of the most exciting drivers, regardless of what lap you're on in this series, Kavaja Holt there, the 00.
Kavaja Holt will dig until he's got nothing left to give. That's the kind of driver that he is here in the 8 machine as he swings it out high. Now gets ready to dive down here into turns 1 and 2. He's got the 93 right on the left rear quarter panel. The 93 of Tane Hodison digging hard, and he's almost on that left rear. They go wheel to wheel coming out of turn 4 and back to the start finish line, and Tane Hodison going to have the edge this time into turn 1.
Tane Hodison has the edge this time into turn 1. However, that 00 machine is not going away. In fact, he tries the crossover maneuver as he's literally almost pushing the 93 down the front stretch. They're kind of vice versa here. Change positions as we go a little bit further up the road here. There's the 45, Noah Hamilton in the do-ride, working the high side of the racetrack, and he is currently being hunted by Alex Princeton in the 19.
Watching Alex Princeton do what he does here in the 19 in the Caribou Coffee Machine. He's gone back to that paint scheme now. He's got that sponsor all lined up, at least for the foreseeable future. And I'll tell you what, you know, here in the 19, that's the first paint scheme that I ever saw him in. I remember him passing me that night going, who the hell is this guy? And that guy is Alex Princeton. I mean, it was one of those nights because, I mean, back when I was a driver, you know, I would sit there and you would see new names pop in and out, and he just had, he was on a rocket powered pogo stick that night. But right now he runs in 8th position, not a playoff driver as he had missed a few races, you know, key races earlier in the year, but still shows up every Sunday night. He's here on lap 395. We're nearing in on that century mark.
Yeah, how about Caribou Coffee being on board with Alex Princeton here tonight? You looking for put some spice in your morning wake-up routine? Caribou Coffee, they got some absolutely fire exotic caffeinated hot exotic blends. Check them out. Stop by their website. In fact, I'm pretty sure Alex Princeton has a promo code. Reach out to them. Check them out. They have some high-powered octane or wake-up fuel, as I like to call it. Check out Caribou Coffees. We send it now back up to the front of this piece. Matt L. Cox and the Bears continue to light it up here. Probably really starting to show some dominance now, Dave, as we're now almost just 100 laps to go. But there's another beast mode performance car that continues to run inside the top 3 in that second place position. In fact, he is coming, and that is Chris Davis, who is hot on the trail of Cox.
Chris Davis here out of Koshkonong, Missouri, running in P3. He's up 22 spots from where he had begun this piece, and I'm telling you right now, he is gunning for the lead. All he needs is one late caution, and he can jump over top of Matt Cox.
Well, I don't know if he wants to jump, but he certainly probably wants to drive his way past him if he had the opportunity. And you're right. One caution changes everything. However, you know, looking at their last times, you know, he is not that far off the pace of Cox. Less than a 10th. Last time by, Cox ran a 14.89 to Davis's 8.0. Looking for the fastest car out there on the racetrack. It's going to be Paul Hill. However, he is almost 1.3 seconds back of that second place machine. So a little bit of a gap there between Hill and Davis.
Getting a little check-in right here from Frank Marchese, of course, former voice of the Thunderclap Racing Series here on Sim Racing Media back in the day, and of course, a member of the A-Team. He is trying not to look too smug, but this just in, the Phillies just lost to the Mets again. God, I hate the Mets. I hate this time. I do. The Phillies have their playoff ticket punched. We're making it to the playoffs. It's going to be fine, but they just can't wrap up the division. Just get through it. You have one job. Win a baseball game.
You know, since Father Frank stopped by here in the broadcast, Dave, I want to take a moment. I had the opportunity for the first time to race with him on the racetrack a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, in Racers Elite Super Speedway Racing. And he said one of the funniest things I ever heard, in a way that only Father Frank could do, and his calm, cool, collected, you know, broadcaster self. He said, under caution, hey, I was just riding along, having some candy, minding my own business, and then instantly I saw Dale. And I lost it.
I was after that particular race, I found myself sitting with he and Greg McConey, and the three of us were just sitting around, you know, smoking and joking after the race. And I mean, I'll tell you what, it made me wish for the days of old, if you will. I love today, and I'm happy to be here. But man, when I heard that "Saw Dale" line, because I wasn't broadcasting that night. I was just hanging out with the guys.
I got you.
Almost fell over dead.
And he delivered it only in a way that Frank could. And that's, I mean, thank God it was under caution, because I probably would have wrecked half the field. I was laughing so darn hard. But,
didn't you guys have like 4 fast repairs that night or something crazy?
It was stupid. It was, I don't know if it was 3, it was 4, but everyone was just driving way over their heads that race. It got fun, and then it kind of turned ugly there at the end. But still, how cool to be out there on the racetrack with Frank Marchese, Greg McConey, some of the great names, you know, that are very, very entrenched into the Sim Racing Media Broadcast Network. Some of the greats, if you ask me. And appreciate Father Frank stopping by and saying hi here in the YouTube live chat. Is the 45.
It was not in the live chat. It was in my phone. He texted.
Oh,
me,
you
know.
fooled me, Dave. Trickery.
Well, it was, it is what it is.
But either way, I'm just messing with you, buddy.
Oh, trust me, it's baseball season. It's nearly October, and he's a Mets fan. I, of course, bleed little red pinstripes, and I tend to start. Of course, today has just been a complete disaster of a sports day for me.
I don't know. The Bills play tomorrow night in that awkward doubleheader that we talked about at the top.
It's a weird doubleheader, right?
It is. It's awkward.
You know, ESPN used to. Now, keep in mind, I hate the worldwide leader, but especially after what they did to Dan Le Batard. But they used to do a doubleheader on the very first night of Monday Night Football, where they would do one East Coast and one West Coast, and everything was fine.
That made sense.
And then we started playing in, Brazil and all kinds of other places, and week one suddenly became a worldwide event. It's me. I'm old people. I long for the days of when it was a doubleheader on Monday night, like Greeny and Gola could call the West Coast, something fun.
It was like on Thanksgiving. You had the early game, the midday game and the late game, or you didn't have two games really competing with one another at the same time.
No, and tomorrow night, the way that the schedule looks, they're going to be on side by side.
They absolutely will, 100%. I know where I'm going to be focused, and I can guarantee you that's where Sean Rogers is going to be focused on that Bills game. He's a big part of Bills Mafia, something him and I have in common. In fact, we spent some time talking about his Bills Mafia paint scheme that he had at Watkins Glen last week. Hope to see that again on the racetrack before this season comes to an end. Matty Cox is really starting to walk it out now. I mean, just moments ago, Chris Davis was in eyesight, and now he is checked out. I mean, he is almost 5 seconds ahead of Davis. In fact, that interval is now north of 5 seconds. Hamilton starting to reel down Davis. In fact, there's a change for position on the racetrack. So we now focus in on Chris Claude. Mr. Down and Dirty tonight. He has been up on the wheel getting it. Since the drop of the green flag, he has fought through adversity. He has gotten the damage fixed, and that 10 car, Dave, is in 10th place, giving it everything he has tonight in the closing laps at Bristol.
Right now, what Chris Claude is hoping for is catastrophe at the top of the pile. I mean, he has come down. He's gotten his repairs done. He's gotten as much of the wrinkle out of the 10 as he can. And right now, he's chasing down Ron Fitting, who's not that far ahead of him, but he's got Tanner Marty between the two of them. I think Chris Claude, this may be his playoff elimination night.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's not without a heck of an effort and from the driver of that 10 machine. I mean, I think tonight, I have definitely seen the most passion, the most aggression, and the most determination I think I've seen out of him all season long. I mean, even from the drop of the green flag, he was the first one to go side by side on the attack out there. And regardless of how this ends, certainly you want to see the head cook, chief, and bottle washer of the league continue to charge on into the playoffs. However, if he does come up short here tonight, he still put on one heck of a performance here. And Dave, it is not over. I just want to keep that in mind as we now focus on this battle between Ron Fitting, or I shouldn't say that car is a lap down. However, the three there of Ron Fitting runs in that 7th place position. Bad Chad Sanner just behind him in 8th. Next car for Fitting to pass for position on the racetrack is going to be Popino in that 17.
Matt Cox has now opened up a lead to 6 seconds over top of Noah Hamilton. He's starting to run away with this piece, and right now, Matt Cox in a position who just came down on 364. He's got one more stop. He's going to have to run this thing dry.
May very well have to run this thing dry. In fact, hit last on lap 364. Yeah, you're not going to have, I don't think you're going to have enough go fast in the tank to go the distance here, in the words of Michael Bolton, I might add. So there's going to potentially be a green flag stop, something we really haven't seen all night tonight, Dave.
Cox, Hamilton, Hill, Hodison, and Papineau. That's your top 5. Now look at Papineau here. He's close by with Chris Davis. We'll go on board here with Davis. And Davis, you know, we've gone on board with him multiple times tonight, but he seems to be in the right place at the right time. The 66 of Chris Custer, he's down a lap, so he's a couple of car lengths ahead here. The 93 of Tane Hodison trying to hold it together just ahead of Papineau. But right now, Chris Davis just in a good spot to hold on to this top 6 finish and get to the end without being scathed.
To the end without being scathed there. Key word is now that 10th place car. Chris Claude goes a lap down to the Rocket Matt Cox, who continues to just put up a barn burner of a pace here. Old tires, no problem. As we continue to stay focused here on that 6th car in that 6th place position, the one and only Chris Davis in that Toyota. We now work lap 438 into the history books of the scheduled 500. Folks, remember, we do have those jokers up our sleeve in the talking about overtime if we do need it. However, with that green flag staying in the air, very dominant, I might add right now, we could see this race potentially run out all the way here to the finish, or at least that's what some of these drivers like Matt Cox, Noah Hamilton, Paul Hill would love to see as they continue to build or a sizable gap as Matt Cox now over the 12-second bracket. That is absolutely incredible. Or excuse me, that was over the 3rd place car. Now still over 6 seconds on Hamilton, Dave.
Chris Davis holding things together right here. He's just behind the Tasty Cake machine of John Wilco, who's down a couple of laps. In fact, he's nearly down 10 right now. As Wilco has faded like a distant memory, this also may be his elimination race tonight. As we've seen that playoff bracket, we know what's going to happen, and now there were 7. Kavaja Holt, the next driver that would be on the menu for Matt Cox to gobble up here. As Kavaja not that far away, looks like, yeah, it's going to get ugly yet.
I think Bobby Anderson just unlapped himself there.
He may be on fresh tires.
Oh, no, excuse me. Timing and scoring just updated. He is multiple laps down. So apologize that, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things going on here late in the race. We're trying to stay on top of all the moving parts for you here live on SRM. As we start to close in on the final laps here from Bristol. Matt Cox, a runaway freight train in the Bears Special. All over that Dark Horse Ford Mustang as he continues to be 2 to 3 tenths faster, virtually faster than everyone out there in competition right now. Dave, how is he putting together such a quick pace behind the wheel of that race car?
He's got this thing dialed in. First off, he's a beast mode driver, which means there's already, a defined pedigree that they all have to come with. Second of all, you put the right, chassis under this guy. And third, use that skill. And right now, he seems to have a limitless supply of skill and ability to get around here. Now we start to see here on the high sides of turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. No, mostly 1 and 2. It's not as dark here in 3 and 4. But we can start to see that rubber has just laid itself into the top side. That's going to make things awful slick, so we're going to see him sneak just below that and, at least keep that grip on the racetrack instead of up against the wall.
The one thing in real life is, especially in the spring race here, we've seen all types of tire trouble. If you remember back to the real life race, that rubber never did get laid into the racetrack. It almost made like a cushion up on the high side against the top shelf there, almost like you would see on it in a dirt track race. And that really prematurely wore out those Goodyears, but not here tonight. As you can see, as Dave was alluding to, that rubber getting laid down into the racetrack, that really loosens up, reduces the bite of the race car. You can see the 32 also having to pay attention to where that rubber is on the racetrack as well, as trying to stay ahead of the competition and the other cars out there on the racetrack. as he does catch a piece of the fence there.
Less than 50 laps to go here, 47 this time by at Bristol Motor Speedway. Dave Riegel and Matt Metler with you here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth. Glad to be with all of you tonight as we work our way here on lap 453. Matt Cox, your race leader, and I thought there'd be somewhere in and around 6 left before we see the checkered flag, but this race has gone green for so long that there are now 5.
Shows you just how fast things can happen here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We have that trend of cautions, just didn't seem like we could get that mean green long run going. And just when you thought it wasn't possible, here it is. And the pace of that 32 has really started to shine. And you're looking at the scoring pylon. Don't blink your eyes, folks. That is absolutely correct. Only the top 5 remain on the lead lap. Matt Cox trying to do something that since Richard Petty in real life hasn't done.
And as we look out here from the rear bumper of Eric Papineau, we can see Matt Cox looking up there. Now, you have to remember, Papineau is up here with Hodgson, Hill, and Hamilton. And they are all sitting ducks now. I'm curious to see if this is the night we're going to watch this happen as we widen things back out here to the blimp. There's Papineau. We can see him there with the 93 just ahead of him. But here comes, wow, here comes Cox, and he is coming hard. What happened? Something funny? I just figured Matt Cox was coming hard. There he is.
It's not a... I'll be right back.
Matt Cox sitting high, wide, and handsome, gets a row. Papineau just got himself a gift as caution number 18 flies. Let's see what this might have entailed. I don't see anything on timing and scoring. I don't see anybody limping away. I'm going to have to call this a debris caution. Now, with 40 laps to go, that's going to put them in an awfully weird position because now we're going to have 6 cars left on the lead lap, 40 to go, and I don't think Cox has enough in him to try to get all the way back around to Noah Hamilton and lap the field. And on what hopes to be the final caution of the evening, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media one final time. I'm Dave Riegel, he's Matt Metler, and this is Sunday Night NASCAR.
Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Race fans, welcome back to Sim Racing Media, as we are now 472 laps complete in the Stacy Strong Cup Series as they take on the last great Coliseum here from Bristol, Tennessee. And Dave Regal up here with me in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. And Matt Cox has really hit the afterburner as moments ago just went fastest lap of the race at a 14.30.
Not only did Matt Cox do it, but Noah Hamilton did it moments later. I mean, they both came across purple. It's incredible. What these guys are doing, and I mean, you have to remember, they're 2 non-playoff drivers. I mean, they're out here just for bragging rights at this point on the season. And I think that if we could see them as full-time drivers next year for the full season, they would be dominant once we hit the stretch like we're in now.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. This is a very tough group of competitors here, and for just to make a couple sporadic starts here, and believe me, I know that as a beast mode performance driver, they're continuing to lead this race. However, Hamilton is starting to close the gap on him there, as he is under 0.2 of a second. But you're right, Dave. If we see some of these guys put a full season together in the 2025, in the upcoming 2025 season, I agree. They could be very well in the hunt and a part of this thing come this time next year.
479 laps in the books. Matt Cox and Noah Hamilton. We're watching them drag race now. And a few moments ago, I didn't think that Hamilton was going to be able to hold Cox off. And here we are under caution.
This is really going to shake things up. The 19th caution on the evening. There comes the pace car drifting around the racetrack. That's going to slow things down. Just as that battle for first place was heating up between Noah Hamilton and Matt Cox. That's the 45 and 36 cars, respectively, out there on the racetrack. Tane Hodison, Paul Hill, Tane Hodison, that's your 3rd and 4th place position. Eric Popino, as we go back to the SRM instant replay. Oh, Chris Claude there. Wrong place, wrong time as the 71 kind of slid up the racetrack on him. And he gets raked into the fence. And that is going to be the reason for this late race caution. Claude should be able to continue to charge on there. Let's go on board here now. Oh, yikes.
What the hell is that in the side of the 71? What is that?
That would be the suspension arm there, buddy.
No. Up here next to his skull. Look at this.
I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, never mind. It's the air scoop.
That is the air scoop. Thank you. Good call there, buddy.
It's just in a weird position where it's weirdly painted.
Yeah, typically we don't have those kind of views. But thank you to SDK and the lovely camera work provided by iRacing. Sometimes we can peek under the sheet metal and see the intricate workings of this next-gen race car.
Here we are with 19 laps to go. This would officially be the twilight for sure of this race. The thing is, we're going to see a lot of these guys getting chippy here at the very end.
Now, when you say chippy, do you perhaps mean short-fused, running out of patience?
No, never. Not when I'm talking about virtual race car drivers.
It's about to get real in the field.
These guys are like Mother Teresa out here.
You know, we do have a Mother Teresa in another league, Teresa Spiker, but however, that's not the same retrospect.
Does she have patience?
Yes, she does.
Oh, so she's a doctor.
Could be.
Get it? Doctor, patience. See what I did there?
That was nicely done there,
yeah,
sir.
That's what I'm here for. Can you imagine?
How's those honey buns?
Delicious. From
Good.
top to bottom.
Top to bottom, left to right. That pack of honey buns is right. Only at Wawa. Let's go out on that pace car. A battle between Cox and now Hodison on the high side on the racetrack. Little Toyota on Ford action on the front row. Pompano, Hamilton, they're going to make up row number 2 here. Don't count out Hill. He's still in this thing. He's going to restart 5th. Green flag back in the air. 16 laps remaining here from Bristol, Tennessee.
Matt Cox takes the jump here in front of Eric Pompano. Now, Pompano, he's going to be hungry here. He's the playoff driver. He's one of the playoff drivers that needs a win or a great finish desperately. And right now, he would be in, well, basically the right seat as Paul Hill, another playoff driver, runs in 3rd position. Noah Hamilton in 4th, and Kavaja Holt in 5th. As we're going to go back here and watch out of Kavaja's windshield, we can see right now the Waynesboro native just kind of letting things develop. Right there, he just saw Hamilton make a little bit of a mistake, so Kavaja moves up a little bit closer. He waits for another mistake, he'll move up closer. The problem is becoming he's only got 13 more laps to do this.
At 13 laps is not a lot of time around this racetrack, as you're basically, sub 15-second lap times right now. As there's a look at the Trish's Hope, Stacy strong little paint scheme on that hood of that 00 here tonight. Cannot thank Trish's Hope. Everything they do here for cancer research on that side of the thing, and also a big part of the Stacy Strong Cup Series. Those colors on Kavaja's ride here tonight in that 00 as he holds on to that 5th place position.
Running in 5th place is Kavaja Holt. We look just a little bit behind him. There's Tane Hodison and Ron Fitting. Now, Ron Fitting in 7th position is separated by a good bit of real estate, but 7 cars on the lead lap as we come down to single digits, 9 laps to go.
9 laps to go, less than 10 remaining now for the hot man with the hot hand here in Bristol. That is Matt L. Cox, Beast Mode Performance Driver. You know that name well from a team perspective here in the Cup Series. Not so much about Matt Cox, but my God, is he making a name for himself here tonight in this series. Da Bears has been a big part of the race tonight as he continues to lead over Paul Hill, who is now up. Dave, don't look now, but he is in that second place position, coming fast.
Paul Hill coming fast for Cox as he sees him just ahead now. He swaps positions with Hamilton in the 45. Now we see Eric Papineau starting to get wound up here, but he's running out of time. The sand in the hourglass is almost full on the bottom.
The sands of time, the hourglass almost full on the bottom, as I just seen a piece of race car go ricocheting across the racetrack. Not sure if that's going to throw a debris caution or not, but or whose car it came from, but nonetheless, we're going to continue to march on. Just 4 laps remaining. Going to keep an eye on here this battle between Papineau and the 00 of Halt. That's for that 4th and 5th place position. The 17 has it. 00 wants it as he keeps peeking to the inside with just 3 laps to go.
Papineau running in 4th position right now. Noah Hamilton, he's now fallen back. He can't seem to keep the 45 off the wall, but he may be able to do it with 2 laps to go. The popsicle sticks are in the air.
Popsicle sticks in the air. Less now than 2 laps to go for Matt Cox and the Chicago Bears paint scheme on that race car. But from the back somewhere, coming like a lightning ship to the front, or like a lightning strike to the front of this field, excuse me. Dave, he is there and looking underneath Matt Cox, but it's not going to be enough as they make contact once, twice. What a finish here, as I believe Cox had it at the line by 5/1000ths of a second as they were beaten and bagged to the finish.
Here we go, taking the lead at the very last bit over top of Noah Hamilton. Paul Hill finishes in 2nd behind Matt Cox. Noah Hamilton finishes 3rd. Eric Papineau and Kavaja Holt round out the top 5. But my goodness, what a run. 500 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. Matt Cox has earned every bit of smoke that's about to come from these tires.
Yeah, he is going to get the rest of the feel-goods out of those Goodyear Eagles. What a statement run from the driver of that 36 machine, Matt Cox. I mean, probably one of the best runs I've seen here at Bristol in a long time. I mean, that car was just so good. That driver even better. But Dave, how about that battle with Paul Hill there at the end? I really didn't see that coming, and Hill almost spoiled his the affair here for the 32.
Matt Cox burns it down and quickly hits pit road. Let's go ahead and try to get these podium finishers up here into the broadcast booth. Noah Hamilton's already there. Let's see if we can get Matt Cox. And with you now, should be Matt Cox, Matt Mettler. Oh, crap. Hold on.
Oh.
Matt, Dave, and the other Matt up here at the broadcast booth in the Stacy in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Cup booth. You got a copy there, brother?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man. Well, first of all, welcome to the Stacy Strong Cup Series, and congratulations, man. You had the Bears on a rail there tonight here at the last great Coliseum. Walk me through that race for you here tonight.
Man, I'm out of breath. I'm hot.
That makes 2 of us.
That's tough. No, I mean, what could you say? It's Bristol, you know. Drive fast, turn left, and stay on the wall, and you have a good shot to win.
Well, you certainly had all of that down and then some. Talk to me about the track conditions out there tonight. It seemed like, no matter if we were firing off when that racetrack was green or even as it rubbered up, I mean, your car just seemed to maintain that pace no matter what, track conditions were thrown at it. How were you able just to stay ahead of that racetrack like that all night tonight?
Oh, just a couple of minor adjustments in the pits, but it's mostly just moving around and kind of chasing the track whenever one groove heats up, and just trying to stay where the most grip is and keep from sliding around too much.
You mentioned just chasing the racetrack. finding the lane that's working best at that point in time for your race car. Did it feel like at certain times throughout the course of the run that the bottom was more dominant over the top, or was it really just that temperature sensitive, something that you were just alluding to?
Yeah, maybe firing off the bottom's better just because you got more grip in the car. The longer you can hug that apron, the better off you're going to be just because tires. But after a certain point, you got to move up a little bit. And then if you got cars coming behind you, you got to get to the wall. So yeah, it's just chasing the car or chasing the track, really.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, you put a heck of a performance here together from start to finish. What a run for you here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And I got to ask you, talk to me about that battle with the Dent Slayer, man, Paul Hill there at the end.
Man, I was in trouble. I knew that because I didn't have any tires to take. And I was just telling the guys in the chat that if they're smart, they're going to pit and take tires here. And they did. And I was like, oh, geez, it's going to get close here. I knew I had speed, but I didn't know if I had 20 laps. Turns out I had exactly what I needed, and I think any more, and I'd have been in big trouble.
Well, hey, man, sometimes that's all it takes. You got to keep that car P1 until the checkered flag flies, and it was absolutely a thrilling finish in battle with you going up against Paul Hill at the drop of at the checkered flag. Before I cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that Beast Mode performance machine?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the guys at Beast Mode that we run with. I want to apologize because I think I got in. I don't know what happened, honestly. I have to go back and look. But me and Bobby Anderson got into something. I think we were both going for the same piece of real estate, and he ended up getting the worst end of it. And I hate to see that because he had a pretty strong car too. But yeah, just everybody on our team that we have, we race with and have fun with on weeknights.
Yeah, that was from my perspective up here in the booth. It looked like a Bristol deal, like you said, unfortunate, but just kind of going for the same piece of racetrack there at the same time. But there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Beast Mode performance driver Matt L. Cox circles the wagons at the last great Coliseum tonight here in primetime. He's your winner from the Big House. Sending it back up top to you, Dave.
Thank you, Matt, as always. And, of course, I want to extend an apology to Austin Call. I misrepresented that he did not punt anyone earlier in the race. I do apologize for misrepresenting what I had seen or maybe in the heat of the moment. However, let's go ahead and get a hold of Paul Hill. Hey, Paul, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
Buddy, listen, you finished P2 tonight after, qualifying P4. I mean, a hard-fought battle for the Dent Slayer. How do you find yourself up here?
Man, I honestly did not feel like I had a winning car all race. I made a kind of a last-second call on what setup to run that I had built, and it was way too tight all night. And so I'm pretty happy with this second. I thought I had something for Matt there at the end, but, all in all, considering what I was battling all race, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, all night long was a battle for just about everybody on the racetrack. You find yourself here in P2 where, we were starting to watch that group of drivers who were on the lead lap start to shrink, smaller and smaller. Were you ever afraid of being lapped by Matt Cox during that last long green flag run?
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely strong enough to do it, and my car didn't seem to plateau at the same level his did. He seemed to have about a tenth a lap on me after like 75 laps, so it was kind of inevitable. I was praying for that caution. Unfortunately, it did come, and I was able to, stay on the lead lap there. But, I mean, shout out Matt. All race, he just had an incredible car, an incredible drive, raced really well. It was a lot of fun there at the end, so I got to give him his props. He definitely deserved this win tonight. He gave quite a performance.
Quite a performance it was, but don't sell yourself short, man. You still put on a great show finishing here in P2. But before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helps you get it done here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series?
I got to thank the guys over at 4Wide, Chad Sanner, Chris Custard, those guys. They put up with me, and we race together every week, and it's been a lot of fun working with them. I got to, of course, thank Dent Slayer, you guys up in the booth, Chris Claude for the group, and Matt Cox there for that last lap. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
All right, my friend, we will see you next week. Congratulations on the P2 finish. Go ahead and enjoy that with the teammates.
Appreciate it, guys.
And last but certainly not least with you now, Mr. Metler, is Noah Hamilton, driver, the number 45.
Noah, Matt, and Dave up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. You got a copy there, boss?
I do, gentlemen.
Well, hey, man, first and foremost, congratulations on a third-place finish here tonight. That Code Red machine, my friend, was a rocket, especially it seemed like when that thing was in clean air. It was in its own zip code at times. And then at other times, on the other side of the coin, you found yourself in the fury and the fire out there on the racetrack. Walk me through your race tonight.
Well, I was really fast at the beginning, and then as the after the first stage, as the track really started to rubber up, I did not have the speed and the adjustments in it. I needed to loosen it up a little, and I didn't get to it till too late. But I also just screwed myself too many times. I was in position multiple times to keep it up there with Matt, and I kept screwing myself, making a mistake, getting in a wreck, something.
Well, you know what? Obviously, Bristol will do that to you. It'll try you, test you mentally, physically, as I'm sure it did out there on the racetrack, man. But nonetheless, I thought you did a heck of a job fighting through all those wars and battles out there on the racetrack. You know, you mentioned your car, you know, over the course of the run tonight kind of got away from you. Did it just tighten up, or did it go to the loose side on you?
As the track rubbered in and the race got later and later, it got way too tight. And I couldn't adjust to it.
Yeah, that rubber getting put down on the racetrack, I know it gives me fits out there at times too as well. I mean, still, you come out of here with a third-place finish. Describe the warfare out there on the track tonight. I know it was hot and heavy around that 45 at times, but you're able to pilot through that storm and bring it home to a third-place finish.
Yeah, some of the racing was intense. We had some 3 wide, which is always scary. Some of the lap cars were being really annoying tonight, but that's just Bristol, isn't it?
You hit the nail on the head. That is just Bristol, baby. Part of the, you know, the formula that makes this track, you know, one of the best places to race here on the NASCAR circuit, especially under the lights in prime time. Noah, before we cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on the 45?
I would like to thank Ryko Performance for giving me great setups every week, and I want to thank my teammates for being helpful. Tane, Diego, and Logan, they all ran tonight. And I want to thank Goodyear for bringing me some good, what do you call them, Dr. Feelgoods?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Ryko Performance under the hood. Dr. Feelgoods keeping him hooked up onto that concrete all night long. Good enough to pilot Noah Hamilton to a solid third-place finish. We're going to send it back up top to you, Dave.
Thank you, Matt. As always, great job with the interviews tonight. Gentlemen who came up here from the podium and did a fantastic job tonight getting here. But let's talk about everybody else.
Hear what?
Exactly.
That goose flying over.
It was a low-flying goose. Good Lord. Well, you know, I've been drinking bubbly liquid this evening. But here we go as we take one final look at our results from Bristol Motor Speedway. Matt Cox brings home the checkered flag, and he's going to be followed on the podium by Paul Hill and Noah Hamilton. They round out your top 3. Eric Papineau and Kavaja Holt finish out your top 5, while Tane Hodison, Ron Fitting, Chad Sander, Logan Giesbrecht, and Chris Claude gets his top 10, but I don't think he's got enough to make it into the next round of the playoffs. Bobby Anderson finishes 11th, while Chris Custer finishes 12th. It looks like that may have changed here toward the end of the race. Chris Davis finishes 13th. You know what? I'm going to have to look at this one because it looks like timing and scoring updated itself afterward. Giesbrecht finishes in 13th with Keith Long and Matt Mackin in 14th and 15th. Tanner Marty in 16th with John Wilco and Cody McCorkle in 17th and 18th. And rounding out your top 20 is Alex Princeton and Sean Rockin' Rogers. Austin Call and Mike McConville finished 21st and 22nd, while Ken Ron, Randall Watkins, Michael Witt, Jeff Carson, Ryan Samuelson, Diego Rodriguez, Neil Pearson, Larry Miles, Casey Bristow, Brian Nunemacher, Mark Johnston, and Richard Pruitt make up the 34 drivers who took the green flag tonight. And Matt, what a run they had.
I'll tell you what, the last great Coliseum put on a jousting match that only the Stacy Strong Cup Series the type of competition they could put on here tonight in prime time. The competition was fierce. The battles on the racetrack were hot, and the tempers at times were even hotter. Ultimately, Matt Cox puts up a brilliant performance, executes on all phases tonight with a brilliant victory and battle over Paul Hill, the Dead Slayer machine, and ultimately Noah Hamilton going to wind out the top 3 podium finishers. All in all, an excellent high-octane night here from Bristol, Dave.
Yes, sir. Well, for myself, Dave Regal, and my broadcast partner extraordinaire, Mr. Matt Metler, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight and making us a part of your evening, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. We want to thank you for just letting us into your homes, onto your phones, and hanging out with us for the last few hours. And for everybody else here at Sim Racing Media, we appreciate the subscribers. Make sure that if you haven't done so already, to hit that subscribe button, turn on those bell notifications so you can be notified every time we go live here on SRM. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.